All right, we're coming to you live on a Wednesday.
Mike.
Never gets old.
I think it does.
You don't think? What do you mean? It's Hump Day. People look forward to that. People wake up. That's what they're anticipating.
I should go back and find a compilation of me doing the Mike on Wednesdays, and then just seeing your collective reaction as it becomes a slight tradition on the show.
Yeah.
Just do it for the best of at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Just
best
couple
of
of people would love that between Christmas and New Year's
that
Day.
would go well.
Just a whole 4 hours of you doing that.
No, actually, that wouldn't be a terrible idea, Jimmy.
No, it's an awful idea.
No.
People would think we're changing formats.
Wait. Let me get there. What if we did 4 hours of the first segment from every Wednesday of the show?
Well,
and then the whole show is just this first segment, and every segment has me going Mike.
You might be onto something.
That's not a bad idea. That's
not
a terrible idea.
Why don't you start working on that?
Yeah.
You got a couple of months here.
Should I make
I think that sounds a great idea. It's a good project for you. Go get them, kid.
All right.
Should I make it a
Remember,
podcast?
I'm behind you.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Everybody survived. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're still here.
Yeah, you survived Rapture. So if you're like, your significant other is like, you know what? I think the world's going to come to an end on the 23rd of September. I think our last meal should be at Chili's. Well, you're a winner because you'll get to go to Chili's more often because the world did not end. Some people think it ended when Jimmy Kimmel was on the air last night, but it did not end. It did not end. When Mike Gundy gets fired at Oklahoma State, did not end.
See, that is
when Nebraska can't put the ball in the end zone of the red zone, did not end. When the Cubs lost their 5th straight game last night, did not end.
That was a bad one.
Yeah. Cade Horton having back issues because he may have sneezed too hard is a problem. That was bad. But none of us suffered Rapture. So we're here for another day, and we're glad to be with all of you.
I don't know. Oklahoma fans would argue that they suffered Rapture yesterday.
Yeah,
Oklahoma?
that's
yes.
I can't wait. You know, the thing about Mateer's injury and what this does
What
is
can't you wait for?
because
why are you
the
being so
SEC
cynical?
honks are going to be telling me that Oklahoma at 9-3 with Mateer missing the Red River game should account for something. Well, you know what? I mean, it kind of sucks because I like watching him, and he is their whole offense. Like their running backs at Oklahoma have 71 yards rushing.
They've played more than one game.
Yeah, they're 67th out of 68 Power 4 schools in terms of yards per game from running backs. John Mateer is their leading rusher, and so you not only lose his passing ability but his running ability. I mean, he's one of the best players in college football. I was bummed yesterday to hear that, and then to hear the side story about it was in the 4th quarter of the Auburn game and he was still dealing. But I'm here for the Feinbaums and the honks to say 9-3 with a Mateer injury, missing that Kent State game where they could get some sexy points. I'm here for that because that's what college football is all about. But everything that was going on yesterday, what was Tulsa football doing?
What do you mean?
Tulsa football, what were you doing yesterday?
Did they tweet something out? What
no,
happened?
they didn't do anything.
Oh, okay.
That's the problem. It was bedlam coming out of the state of Oklahoma yesterday.
And they just sat there and watched.
Yeah, because you had Gundy got fired, which is amazing because Mike Gundy, basically, if you're a Cowboy fan and let's say you're your mid-30s, late 30s,
he's all you know.
Mike Gundy has been your life, like as a quarterback, assistant coach, head coach, like 35 of his 58 years, he has been involved with Oklahoma State, and he got fired yesterday at the age of 58. There's a lot in there, but that happens. Then the Mateer news comes out, and I'm waiting for Tulsa to put out a cinematic recap of the reason why Mike Gundy got fired is because they won in Stillwater last Friday, but Tulsa sat idle. Bad. They took the biggest loss. They could have been like, hey, everybody is down in the dump. I mean, geez, watch out for Chet and Shea. Hopefully they don't get injured as training camp begins in the NBA. Tulsa could have been like, we're the winners.
You're mad at them for not being petty?
Yes. Pettiness is what makes college football go around.
Okay, I can agree with that.
Lean into the pettiness.
Oh yeah,
man.
I'm down with the pettiness.
Lean into the pettiness.
Considering the fact that the main event of Saturday will be Whit Weeks versus Lane Kiffin, will be, I agree with that. But at the same time, why can't they just be respectful? Why is it? I mean,
No,
they didn't have to rub it in. They don't have to rub
college.
it in.
That's not what college football is about. That is not what rivalries is about. And especially when you beat Oklahoma State, and that is the end for Mike Gundy.
Okay, so if Nebraska beats Iowa at the end of the year, and that's Kirk Ferentz's last game, and Nebraska got a win in Coach Ferentz's last time he was the head coach, would you want Nebraska to post like a cinematic petty?
No, this is the tweet. This is the tweet, and I think I already have this available. I'm glad that you asked about the University of Iowa, who at one point was a 4-point underdog against Indiana, and it shot up to 8.
Yeah.
Also, Iowa hasn't beaten a ranked team since 2021. They lost 10 in a row to ranked teams.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an interesting
The Hawkeye
stat.
State is actually the Cyclone State. But I don't know. I'm very curious about the Hawks in that game. That's for later in the week. But here is the tweet.
Okay.
If Iowa rolls into town on Black Friday, and that is it for Kirk after 27 years, which is amazing. And granted, there are no championships, playoff appearances, BCS, all that kind of stuff along the way. It is pretty impressive in this day and age that the guy that is coaching at Iowa has been there as long as he has been.
Oh, sure.
Because Gundy was he started Oklahoma State in 2005. I think that's when he started. So those runs, and I've got a thought on runs like that are now going to be fewer and far between. But this is the tweet. If what you said happens, how it started, how it ended.
Oh,
first game, last game.
Okay. See, that's a good one. That's respectful.
I don't know that it's respectful.
Sorry, time out. It's not disrespectful. It doesn't take.
I think it's probably disrespectful, but it's a rivalry. So, and you don't have a chance to beat Iowa very often. So that would be the tweet.
But compared to what other college football social medias are doing, where they do the SpongeBob memes and stuff like that, and they do the different type of videos, you know what I'm talking about.
No, I do not.
Like the posting videos where they post all the different types of memes, and like the Detroit Lions did it last year, like during every win. There's a lot of pettiness that goes on in college football social media. I think that would be not necessarily the high road because you're tweeting it, but it wouldn't be awful. It wouldn't be terrible.
That's what I'm saying. I presented you the
I wouldn't.
You don't like pettiness, I understand.
No, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind if they did
how it started, how it ended.
That would be a good one. I'd be indifferent of whether or not they would do it.
A lot of people will watch that game, but that's a long way away because we're in the middle of a bye week. This is a Pro Dylan show, Pro Dylan State. You want a little wrestling analogy as I followed along the last couple of days, the chatter about Nebraska starting quarterback?
Yes.
So when Nebraska plays Michigan State next week, this is in your wrestling term.
Okay.
He will get the loudest pop when they announce the starting lineup.
Nice.
Because he is,
he's a draw.
Not that he's a draw. He's your quarterback, but people have come strongly to his defense. And let's be honest, he probably doesn't need people to come to his defense if you're talking about facts. But I've noticed the last couple of days that the podcasters who they're out there, we have so many talented people that cover Nebraska football, but also are not like the legacy media. There's some really good podcasts out there, but have said, you know what, this is the deal with Dylan. So they have come to the defense of Dylan, but they're using facts instead of I'm a Nebraska fan. That's my quarterback. That's my quarterback. So I think when they play next week, he'll get like the loudest pop, and then it opens up a whole nother discussion. But in terms of watching that game, did you guys see the numbers yesterday for Nebraska, Michigan?
I'm sure they were healthy. We watched. It was a good game.
Then you were included. You, your wife, and your young one were included in this, Jimmy.
I did not see the ratings.
So 5.3 million. Jeez. It is the third highest viewed game in week 4.
We like football.
Or I guess week 5 if you count week 0. So Miami and Florida did 6.5 6.5 million. And then Auburn, Oklahoma did 6.1.
Okay.
And Nebraska, Michigan did 5.3 on a standalone with no lead in. I don't believe there was a CBS 11. No. So it was just straight up the standalone CBS 230 window. 5.3 million in a helmet game.
That's good. That's great. I mean, I don't know. Part of me wishes that they would outdraw Auburn, Oklahoma for the Big Ten honks, right? And so you could be like, look at the Big Ten and look at the
Hang a
numbers, and
banner.
we have better numbers in the SEC. And you could maybe argue that in terms of the helmets, that maybe Nebraska and Michigan are two higher helmets up on the chart than Auburn and Oklahoma are on the chart of the SEC. If you know what I'm saying. But great number. Look, Nebraska's always going to draw like that. That is the reason why they're in the Big Ten. That is the reason why when we have the conversation of whether or not they'll be at the big boy table when college football seemingly merges into the Super League, whenever that's going to happen, that nobody has a doubt that they will be included in that. Like, regardless of results and regardless of wins and regardless of losses, it just seems like Nebraska, unlike a lot of other college football programs, is just always going to have eyes on it. And
this weekend will be the test, because I think the ABC primetime SEC game, and Oklahoma Auburn wasn't in prime time, but Florida Miami was. So at least there was one SEC team. That's a pretty good spot for the SEC. Florida State Miami is going to take that spot next week. So they'll be in the ABC spot and not an SEC game. But I think that slot is turning out to be really, really good. But what will happen this weekend when Georgia, Oklahoma goes up at the same time against Penn State, Oregon?
Ooh, I would hope for Penn State, Oregon, that they end up outdrawing Georgia, Oklahoma, because that should be, I mean, those are arguably two of your premier teams in the Big Ten, and Georgia, Oklahoma aren't any slouches or anything like that. But like, that is a game that isn't just a helmet game, but it's also supposed to that's supposed to be the equivalent of Georgia, Alabama, in the Big Ten in a way. So I'd hope they outdraw them.
All right, coming up on the show, Jay Moore's going to stop by at 8 as we are in between Game 4 and Game 5. So he's got some thoughts on what he saw on Saturday. He saw a little bit of him and Michael and Damon last night on Big Red Wrap-Up. Jay's got some pretty good observations that we'll go a little bit further into what he saw, what he liked, what he didn't like, what can be fixed, all of that kind of stuff. He'll join us coming up at 8. John Walker stops by at 9. John has to go back to work today because Kraton men's basketball starts practice today. So John will have some thoughts on what he's looking for, what he would like to see, what he would like to hear, and wondering Joe Lenardi's early bracketology.
Did he come out with one?
Yeah, you have to.
He came
you
out
have
with
to
one
once
right after the
practice
Final
starts. So I will tell you that Omaha is not included. He has South Dakota State as a 14 seed, which
is that a hot take? South
Dakota State might only be the 4th best team in the league this year.
Wow.
Brand new head coach. Losing Hendo is a huge deal. Sure. And they have to replace some key guys. They have some really good guards. I think South Dakota will be better. I think Omaha and St. Thomas are the 2 best teams going into the year. And then when Omaha announces their addition to their roster, and people go, what? Be huge for the Summit League.
Yeah.
But he has South Dakota State as a 14 seed. He has Nebraska as the next 4 out.
I saw that with Clemson, Kansas State, and Villanova.
We should probably talk about, he may have heard about my guy yesterday.
Who? The one that got his tooth pulled out and couldn't practice?
Yes. So all the videos started to come out, and of course I was looking for the Turkish Nightmare, and he was nowhere to be seen. And I'm like, are you really doing it to me?
He's already hurt.
Are you really doing it to me?
He's already injured.
So I texted someone. I said, where is American? And they were like, he got a molar out today. And I'm like, God,
I want to see him.
I wanted to see video. But he has Nebraska.
I wanted people to say he looks great.
He has Nebraska as the next 4 out. And then he has Kraton as a 9 seed.
Yeah, terrible. Awful. 9? I'm not a J skirt, but 9 is ridiculous.
I think the local evaluation of Kraton's prospects this year is actually higher than the national.
It is.
Because even everybody's favorite around here, Rothstein, dropped Kraton. I think he has Kraton like 23rd in his poll.
It was 25 at one point on the Rothstein top 45. I can look again right now, but I know for a fact he was 20. It was 25.
So John Walker will join us coming up at 9. Also, we'll talk some football with John Walker. We'll talk plenty with Brandon Vogle coming up at 9:40. Yeah. That is the lineup brought to you by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. You can always give us a call. we've had 2 straight days of Andrew just walking in, wearing a gasoline suit into a fire.
Before the show starts.
Yes, 402-951-1620. That is the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline if you would like to interact with the show. So looking at Gundy yesterday, first of all, wow.
I'd like to get that kind of money to go away.
Well, it was always going to end like this with Mike Gundy.
Yeah.
He elevated Oklahoma State, and he probably stayed too long. But a guy that has been stubborn through the process, but also has been, he's won some football games now.
People forget what they used to be down.
He's taken Oklahoma State to a different level, but stubbornness kind of got him in the end. This is how it was going to end. I don't think he ever would have said, you know what, wave to everybody and walk off the field.
Yeah.
It just felt with like a guy like Mike Gundy, it was going to end this way. But if you look at when it happened, whoa, I think the athletic director, who did not have a contract, now will get a contract, makes the decision on Gundy. And when they made it yesterday, after allowing Gundy to talk to the media on Monday instead of doing it right after they lost to Tulsa, I think the AD thought that, because he used the best interest of the program, I think he thought that Gundy was lining up his troops to protect him, to keep him as the head coach, to ward off an AD, or to try and get the AD out the door who had a contract that expired.
Yeah.
And the AD could play, well, we want to get a head start on our next coach. He's probably like, I'm getting a head start because Gundy's starting to line up people to try and protect him, and I can't allow this to go. And so out the door you go, and people go, yeah, it makes sense, but damn, that guy played and he coached and he's alum and you fired him. And I was like, man, you look at coaches.
Remember when SEC schools wanted him? Not long ago.
He tried to get the Nebraska job.
I remember that phone
you
call.
Can stay too long.
Oh, God.
And, I think this was how Mike Gundy's time at Oklahoma State was going to go out. And it happened yesterday. And I don't think people are surprised, maybe by the timing, but that AD making a move like that for the best interest of the program, ouch.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough for NIL to bite you in the ass. I mean, that's kind of where we're going at this point. How
can they be? You know what? I hate this. I hate this trend in college football and in college athletics. When you lose, you say it's because poverty. We're poor. Stop that crap. Okay?
Maybe you're not good.
Yeah. Maybe do your job.
Just a guess.
Granted, there are others that have more resources than you, but if that's the first thing you go to when you lose is poverty and we don't have enough money, then you know what? That job was never right for you.
I think though so when a guy and this is just because I'm using this as an example because this is just what I know, right? When Matt Rule says, hey, there are 10 other schools that are spending more money than us. Okay. I look at that and I go, all right, fine. That's your reality. You're not the one that has the most in the war chest to go out and get the best players, but womp womp, you still have plenty of money. Yeah. You have way more money.
They did not use that as an excuse to losing to Michigan.
Yeah. No. They did. Yeah. I'm not saying that, but
that's what I'm saying is that coaches, when they lose a game, they'll say, well, we lost because we didn't have enough money.
I think that at least from Gundy's standpoint, right? At least get the numbers that he's saying that they had $2.3 million in NIL. And at one point he said that they had spent $7 million over 3 years in NIL. I think that is a little egregious in terms of the lack of just resources. It is in this day and age, in this modern day and age of NIL, impossible to do anything with $7 million over 3 years. And so if that's his quote unquote.
But didn't the AD then in his press conference yesterday pull out some receipts?
I didn't watch the.
I think he explained what their NIL looks like, which I don't know, school that T. Boone Pickens, rest in peace. Where'd all that money go?
Well, yeah. So he gave $100 million,
and I know a lot of it went to the stadium to redo the stadium and some of the facilities. But
see, I think that I totally understand what you're saying too. I get if money's your first excuse, and you talked about this earlier in the year as well, where you go, look, we're going to find out with NIL who can coach, right? And we're going to find out with rev share, who your coaches are. But I think if what Mike Gundy is saying is correct, that he had those limited resources over that 3-year span, I have no problem with him crying poor to a certain extent, because that's not trying to make a chicken salad out of chicken S doesn't even describe.
Does it change your opinion that 2 of those 3 years were in a league that does not have Texas and Oklahoma?
No, because I just think that number is so low. That just $7 million over 3 years is so low, where I can't imagine how you can do anything with that number. I mean, Bryce Underwood is going to be making more than that $7 million mark over that same period of time, and he is one player. Now, what I was trying to use Matt Rule as an example for is if you're like 20th in the country, or if you're the 18th highest paid team in the country, I don't think you could cry wolf at all. And I don't think you could say, oh my God, we don't have enough money and we can't compete. Like, no, dude, you are in the top 25. You should be able to compete in the top 25. With Gundy in this specific situation, and I'll go back and I'll have to watch the AD's press conference, but if what he's saying about their NIL budget being $2.3 million, I have no problem. He
disputed it, which maybe it's just for the next head coach that is listening to everything to say, well, but also there's another part of this isn't, you want to talk about Rule. I'm going to bring Fred Hoiberg into it.
Okay.
If people believe in your program, they will put up the money.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
If they don't believe in your program, they're not turning over their hard-earned money. That's just the bottom line. That happens with Nebraska basketball. If you believe in Fred Hoiberg, Nebraska's NIL is not an issue for basketball.
And you've said this before, where, I mean, I think I'm just repeating your point that if you coach to a very high level, that the money will eventually come. But I think Oklahoma State, and this is something that a lot of teams are going to have to do, like throughout the future, you got to not only make sure that you make a hire that is a good coach or whatever, but you have to make a hire that is going to inspire the donors to the point where they're going to give you money, right? I don't know if Oklahoma State, with their current, whether it be what the AD is saying or whether it be Gundy saying, it definitely isn't up to par with some of the best teams in the country.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make a hire that nobody's never heard of, or that nobody believes in, or doesn't have any sort of connections, where donors aren't going to come in and say, okay, I'm going to put my backing behind this guy.
I think it's an attractive job because there's no Oklahoma and Texas in your league.
I think it's an attractive job just as long as they can raise money. I think that's because thinking about this yesterday, and
there's money there.
Well, if once again, this is just fully based off of what Gundy was claiming, and Gundy was saying that he had, and so they okay, if there's money there and there's money there for the new guy, then absolutely, I think it's an attractive job.
Yeah. Because the thing about Gundy, so Nebraska could Mike Gundy have coached at Nebraska a decade ago? I wish there would be a deeper dive in the backroom stuff that happened to get Mike Riley here.
I know you talk some of the stories they're interesting.
So Mike Gundy in 2015, or between 2014 and 2015, after Bo got fired, and remember that was when Gundy's name was coming up for every job, and you'd always hear him attached to Tennessee.
Arkansas was another
one.
Like just
SEC. His agent was pretty aggressive, and his agent was, if I was an AD, I'd be like, man, that guy's doing you dirty. Are you going to stay here? You keep telling me this is your dream job. You're a man. You're older than 40. Are you going to stay here?
He's 58.
But his agent, kind of like PJ Fleck a little bit, where their name will be floated for jobs, and they might interview for those jobs, but they never take those jobs.
Never convinced they're going to stay, but they probably will.
Gundy's agent floated around Lincoln and Omaha and around the national guys that Gundy was up for the Nebraska job.
Oh.
And everybody you talked to in Lincoln was like, not a chance.
Yeah.
Because while that was going on, Brett Bielema was calling Eichhorst and saying, hey, I got 2 guys that would be great candidates for you, Paul Chryst or Mike Riley. And as you know, the rest is history. Meeting in San Francisco, boom, Mike Riley's hired as the head coach, as they flew over Salt Lake City, where Kyle Whittingham was waiting for them to come talk
Every
to him.
time you say that, I think what could have been there.
Yeah, I think
love Kyle
Kirk
Whittingham.
Ferentz and Kyle Whittingham now are the 2 longest tenured coaches in college football. And doesn't this make Matt Campbell the longest tenured Big 12 coach?
Yeah.
Outside of Whittingham?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Matt was
Like if
16.
it's going off regular, like old school Big 12, not adding Whittingham.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
That's kind of wild.
Mhm.
Shows you it's a short life, man. It's the college football more than college basketball might be more in the coaching profession. What have you done for me lately? And one tough stretch and you're out.
Mhm.
I think that, I mean, there might be some schools where you get a little bit of leeway, but even on like the ground up too. I mean, we are no longer in the 3-year period in terms of like you get to get your bearings. Like you have one craps. I mean, look at what happened to Ryan Walters.
Look at Fickle
and Purdue.
Well,
you get 1 year. I mean, he got
That's-
he got one really. I mean,
but they made a bad hire and they realized it right away.
Sure.
I'm talking like, guys that are 6, 7, 8 years. It's all about like one tough stretch.
And
like
you
might have
everything.
your first 4 years at a school might be really good.
Yeah.
And then you go through about a 3-year stretch where you can't match your first 4 years. And it's like, well, what have you done for me lately? And you move on.
Look how fast Frank got done dirty at the end there. I mean, that was a different time, but similar concepts. People look, it's like, hey, the man won.
Well, and the landscape appears to be changing. If you look at early hires or early firings already this year, people are like, okay, is Sam Pittman going to make it through the weekend if they don't beat Notre Dame? Why are they waiting on Billy Napier? You also have to factor in the portal is open now. Yep. The portal is open. There's like 3 guys with connections to Nebraska that are on Oklahoma State's roster.
Hey, I remember one.
With Nebraska, welcome back Grant Segrin.
Yes. I mean, from an offensive line perspective.
And then Jalen Lloyd, but Grant Segrin, who they just didn't have money for. Like they wanted to keep him because they saw a path for him to play. He had a good spring. He wanted a little bit more money. Nebraska was kind of out of money allocated to the current roster. And they said, there's nothing we can do. And he said, all right. And he left.
This is why recruiting you play a bounce
the portal
back.
is open. But I wonder, like Florida, is Florida afraid of like the season falling apart because the portal's open and they'll just get fleeced with tampering, and the next thing you know, it just the bottom falls out? Or do they wait until like after they play Georgia? Who knows what happens there? But the early firings, kind of interesting.
Also, the pressure's got to be there to have your guy ready somewhat because of that. Hey, we fired this coach, but this is who might be coming. And so,
I mean, but the retention percentage of like when you fire a head coach, I feel like, does it vary that much between when you fire them in the middle of the season, when you fire them at the end of the season?
Well, I think it depends on if they're going to, dirty the water. Like it sounded like Gundy was going to, dig in. He was not going to let the AD push him out. And maybe behind the scenes, he was, you get your allies.
Yeah.
And the AD said, not a chance.
Well,
I don't know. I think it's, I don't know. I know what you're saying, Jimmy, about, well, if you have your guy, I mean, how many times does that really happen?
You have to tread carefully now with the portal.
I don't think Trev fired Frost and said, I'm going to hire that Rule guy. Now, Carolina, you're going to have to help us out here, but I'm going to go get that Rule guy.
Well, I think there are less and less jobs, and maybe you guys can disagree with this, but I think there are less and less jobs where it's like a no-brainer. Absolutely, I can pluck any coach from anywhere that I want. And it's not going to be some sort of like debate. Like, I don't think Oklahoma State can just call anybody and they're just going to go ahead and okay, I'll be the next head coach. Like, I don't think I don't think any of these teams in the current coaching cycle.
That's got to be the right fit.
Yeah. But I mean,
Florida's a good example.
See, I think that I follow what you're saying. I think that mindset is different these days because I think coaches have to look at their own situation. Is there NIL? Is there AD? Is that the place for them instead of jumping at a place that maybe does not have the same NIL, but on the outside it looks like a better job, and just being careful. Like if you're following what you're saying, then Dan Lanning is at Alabama. Well, instead, Dan Lanning is going, maybe I want to be the guy that replaces Saban, or you know what? Maybe I got a really good gig here at Oregon.
But no. I agree with that. And I think what I was trying to say, though, is that because, and it's part of what you're bringing up, right? You want to look at your NIL situation. You want to look at your athletic director situation, the program tradition, the where are you in America, the what conference are you in? None of that I don't want to say none of it matters. It doesn't matter nearly as much, though, as it used to. That can all be great. Florida should be a top-tier job by that standard, right? Program tradition, where you are in the country for recruits, and
no. I've told you this. I fight a lot of people on this. There have only been 2 guys that have ever won at Florida.
But I'm saying that if we're going off of those 3 things currently right now.
That is really interesting.
Yeah, Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer, the only 2 that have ever really won at Florida.
But that doesn't mean that a high caliber quality coach that you can pluck from just about anywhere couldn't do that as well. I don't think that there are 0 coaches in.
It's an attractive job, but maybe not as attractive as you think. Like, let's say, because you know who will be a hot commodity in the offseason, and his name will be attached to Florida. What does it say about Kirk Cignetti if he says, I'm good?
Well, I think what it says,
because everybody wants to push him to Gainesville.
Mm-hmm.
What if he says, you know what?
No, I got job security forever here.
I like where my feet are.
Mm-hmm.
I think it says more about Indiana, though, if he ends up staying at Indiana.
True.
And what they're able to put together on the NIL. And also, too, I think that...
Didn't y'all say this yesterday? When talking about Cignetti, but sometimes they tell you, look, we have the money.
Well,
all right, I'll stay here.
He is on track to make the playoffs in 2 seasons, in his 2 seasons being there.
At a school where he went 7 or 8.
He makes it one more time. He probably already has a statue or some sort of he's in the Indiana Football Hall of Fame. Yeah, he's already an absolute Indiana legend. So I don't know I think that's a weird one because Indiana has kind of put up the money and have put up the resources behind him for him to succeed. I think my point, Gary, is more so just that NIL and how much money that you have in the war chest has just evened out what jobs are good and what jobs are great. And it's made it harder for some certain colleges to just go out and get whoever the hell they want. I think that pool, that crop of teams that could do that in the past is way smaller now than what it is. And I think that Dan Lanning, to your comparison, is probably at one of those schools, one of the few schools that actually could go and pluck anybody.
What I would add to that, though, is all of a sudden the Texas Tech and SMU job have become good jobs. And 2 years ago, they were not considered really good jobs. Texas Tech is now a good job.
They'll give you everything
because they're
you want.
fully financed and they are in it to win it with people that are not necessarily sitting in offices in Lubbock. They might be sitting next to an oil well, out in Midland.
Well, I'll ask you this question. Do you think that the Illinois and Kansas jobs have become good jobs because of the $100 million donation for the Illini and the $300 million donation?
That's a good question
Kansas?
because I think there are some times where the person in charge makes it a better job.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Also true.
We had this discussion in the middle of the summer around media days, of making the job better, the person in charge, or does the job make the person that's the head coach better? Yeah. I mean, I think Rule has walked in 3 years and he's made the Nebraska job better, but there's also been the financial commitment and he's got more toys than, Scott had or anybody else. But it's a little of both. It's a really interesting discussion, especially when a guy like Gundy that's been there for so long is at a place that Oklahoma State's not considered one of the top of the top, but he's been successful. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll come back. There's a lot more on this. Yes, we will talk about what we talk about in bye week as everybody gears up for Dylan. GBR for DR15. No, shirts will be made.
I already made the club name during Big Red Overreaction.
And that is
the Double D Club.
That should go over well.
Dylan's Defenders.
Oh,
yeah. Dylan's Defenders.
Me
and Josh, we're the
You're going to
leader.
get some different clientele on that club. They're going to be like, "What the hell's this?"
If you tweeted that out, the bots and the responses probably wouldn't be exactly what you want.
Should I tweet
or
that
maybe
out?
it will.
You
be.
should.
Should I tweet that out right now?
Tag Miss Sprinkles
I'm
while
the
you're at
leader
it.
of the Double D Club.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good. All right, we're off and running. Gary and Matt with Jimmy on a hump day on 1620 The Zone. All right, good Wednesday morning, everybody. Welcome back into the show. Also, yesterday, I was busy. Sister Jean retired.
Yeah.
Officially at the age of 106.
Yeah,
106.
But it's not a good retirement. Like it's not a happy retirement. It's not like they're throwing her a party with birthday cakes and balloons and a big old sign. It's
they did that. I think her
she
birthday
celebrate?
last year. So she was no longer on campus. So she's been off campus for about a year.
Yeah.
But 106. Sister Jean officially retired.
Not a candidate.
They might
not
give
I'd
one
day
like
that's
to
off.
taken.
retire at 106 as well.
No, you don't.
Yes.
Meet
No, you
Gary
would
Sharp,
not.
the
I
103-year-old
would like
radio
to
host in
retire at
Omaha.
yes, I'd like. Well, I don't know about that. But 106.
Yeah, by then I would think you're back in
Fort
South
Myers.
Florida.
Yeah.
So I know this is a really awkward transition that we just mentioned, Sister Jean.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I just say one thing about the Gundy coverage yesterday?
Jeez. I guess I should have expected Sister Jean and Mike Gundy to be in the same sentence.
Well,
at
I didn't
some
mean it.
point
I didn't
today.
mean it this way, but I got two lingering thoughts
They
about
both
Mike
left
Gundy.
their jobs yesterday.
Two
Well-
lingering thoughts about Mike Gundy, who tried to become the head football coach in Nebraska in 2015, and nobody would pick up the phone. All the coverage, he didn't die.
Yeah.
Right.
That kind of
He made $21.5 million to
There
go
were
away.
some stories because I open the article and read.
Sure.
He didn't die. Okay, he
but
he
he
lost his job
Yeah, still
in
though,
a place
that's-
where 35 of his 58 years on Earth
Mhm.
have been spent.
Mhm.
He didn't die.
But Gary, you do understand the significance of that.
Yeah,
though.
but
like the guy,
he-
I told you this off air. Well, you already
he's
knew
up
it.
this morning.
Oklahoma State has had 11 10-win seasons in their football program's history. He's been a part of 10 of them, either as a head coach or as a quarterback.
You take
Oh,
5
like-
co-host?
You could. I mean, I'm not going to act as if I'm a Oklahoma State football historian, but safe to say he's probably the most important
You mean you don't celebrate Pat
person
Jones?
in Oklahoma State's football history.
by far.
Yeah.
And remember, I mean, Jimmy Johnson
Mhm.
for a brief bit
Yeah,
was the head
good
coach
point.
at Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy probably is also one of the more important people in the history of Nebraska football.
Why would you? Okay.
Not as a player in that 88 game,
Right.
Okay.
which
Which was-
63-42.
Not on TV, if I'm not mistaken,
Correct.
right?
Correct. That,
Yeah.
Barry Sanders in that game, outrushed by Kenny Clark, 5.4 yards per carry for Barry Sanders in that 88 game that Nebraska won 63-42 against the Mike Gundy-led Oklahoma State Cowboys at quarterback. That was the lowest yards per carry of any game during Barry Sanders' Heisman year in 88.
Really?
Which is saying something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
He
incredible.
was a video
Yeah.
game.
But in terms of being like having a place in Nebraska history, and actually, I mean, it's 18 years later.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Thank you on behalf of GBR Nation to Mike Gundy.
Yeah. He helped get rid of Steve Peterson.
Let's take you back to October 13th, 2007.
38
Okay.
to nothing at halftime.
38-0 at
Yes.
halftime.
Yeah,
People are
yeah,
just
there you go.
streaming out of the stadium. Oklahoma State rolls up 550 yards. They win 45-14.
Wasn't that
Now,
close?
this is where Nebraska football has gone from 07 to 2025. At the time, that was the worst home loss in 50 years. Okay. 45-14.
Well, I mean, has there been another? Oh, 45-14 was. Yeah, there's been at least
At the
one.
time, it was the worst home loss in 50 years.
Brutus would like
And
to
as
say
a
hello.
result, 38-0 at halftime. You could tell in that game that Nebraska's players and coaches had quit.
Jeez.
And people were streaming out of the
was
stadium.
weird.
There were boos. And 2 days later, Steve Peterson was fired.
Do you know that I'm a Man, I'm 40 occurred 18 years on Monday?
Mhm.
It was this week.
Yeah.
He got
Yeah.
fired, and there was a theory that he didn't get fired on Monday because of that anniversary that they wanted to
That would have been
wait a day.
that would have been hilarious.
Wouldn't
irony,
that have been perfect though if he got fired on the 18th
though. That goes to
anniversary
that live
of
long
that
enough
day?
to die a villain.
I don't know. I think I don't know. I don't think he was in line to be fired. There had to be something that was going on that the AD was like, okay, this is becoming a power struggle.
Does it being
That-
on a Tuesday kind of set off that alarm for you? The fact they
Well,
also
why-
play
why-
on a Friday
What-
too.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And why would you let him talk to the media on Monday and
Mhm.
say, I'm not going anywhere? And the AD's like, oh, yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You know who's somebody? Okay, so there's a lot of names that are out there. Again, you're in a conference that doesn't have Oklahoma or Texas, and you're based in Stillwater.
Yeah.
Whether you got dough in your pocket or not, it's not as daunting as it used to be. It shows you what Gundy was able to accomplish.
Cheese fries at Eskimo Joe's are legit.
You know, there's the stock names that are thrown around for this job, like some hot OCs.
Jeff Traylor, GJ
Kinney, Traylor, Texas State, UTSA, respectively. And I think in this job, it helps to have some familiarity with the Big 12, but have some familiarity with Texas. You know whose name is thrown around because of his connection to Oklahoma State, because he used to be in the Big 12 and he knows that area. And you're thinking, is he ever going to be a head coach again? If he's going to be a head coach, this is the place to be. Is Dana's name. Dana was on a couple of lists yesterday.
He wasn't just on the list. He was the picture for the CBS Sports article.
Why would you hire Dana Holgorsen if you're Oklahoma State? And I asked that as a serious question, not to create a conversation, but as a serious question of, if you're Oklahoma State, why would you hire Dana Holgorsen?
I think you would hire Dana Holgorsen because I think after these losing seasons, you need some stability. I think you would also hire him because and when I mean stability, I mean a guy that has been a long time head coach, that he's not going to walk in and it's not like it's going to be his program, it's going to be his system. I think with the evolving just offense in college football in general, I think you just need an offensive mind, or at least I don't think you necessarily need an offensive mind as your head coach, but you need an elite offensive mind somewhere on your staff.
Would he come with some talent?
Yes. And so, well, I don't.
Whoa! I don't mean personally. I mean,
Jimmy.
That's what
suggesting.
That's what people always ask now. John Mateer, the whole thing with Ben Arbuckle. I know that was a coordinator. It's the same thing.
I understand the question you're asking, though, because Dana Holgorsen was just in the Big 12, just at a program that doesn't have as much resources as everybody else in the Big 12.
Has worked at OSU before.
So that is one of those things where you could maybe look at yourself and say, yeah, the Oklahoma State job and the Houston job may not be too far apart. Right? I think Oklahoma State better than Houston, but I don't think the gap is that big. And where's Dana coming from? He just failed at Houston. So we're going to give him a better job after being the OC at Nebraska for a year and think he can just turn this around. I think that's a valid argument too.
I think it would be an underwhelming hire if I was Oklahoma State. And I will say this.
I agree.
If his name is in the mix, like serious in the mix, not just the guy at the Daily Oklahoman sitting on the desk just putting a list together, it's because he pursued it and not the other way around.
Yeah.
What would
be an overwhelming
I think he likes
hire?
the situation here. And, I mean, they asked for a 2-year commitment with Dylan. It's a smart name to put on a list. I just don't, if I'm Oklahoma State and I'm an AD and I just got rid of Gundy and I'm trying to rejuvenate, Holgorsen is a name. People go, ooh.
He won't leave Houston, but I love Willie Fritz.
He wouldn't be at the top of the list.
So
I think they have a couple of other, like the Jeff Traylor, who, he's been in the mix, UTSA, for some other jobs. I think Kinney at Texas State is like the guy. But his name will come up, and, it's very rare that guys are plucked off of Nebraska staff to become head coaches really throughout the history of Nebraska football. It's very few and far between.
When was the last one?
Oh, I like this game.
Just plucked off of Nebraska's staff to be a head coach. Kevin Steele, when he went to Baylor. I know there's got to be somebody.
Are we counting Mickey? Does Mickey technically count? Because he did end up going to Grambling.
Yeah,
and he was up for Tulsa,
but he wasn't
on the staff at the time.
He wasn't.
Specifically. I see what you're saying.
God, there's got to be somebody in between Kevin Steele to Baylor, Tony Samuel to New Mexico State. It doesn't happen a lot at Nebraska. Coordinators aren't plucked and then immediately hired.
Well, that's what happens when you don't win. When you're not a part of a winning program, no one's going to pull off your assistants.
All right. Troy Dannon spoke last night, and I spoke to Mark Manning last night.
You did.
And they may have said something very similar. We'll discuss when we come back. Hour number 2 of Gary and Matt with Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. Oh, some nice DMB. Nicely done. I saw him at the Royal Gorge
Nice.
this summer. I mean,
It's a good show.
it's a long show.
Smells good.
16-minute songs. I mean, if you are a DMB fan, we'll get you. We'll get you up to speed. Dave Matthews Band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know the Dave Matthews
I
Band.
was
They're the
gonna
ones
say-
that had all the feces in Chicago.
Yes, they
Yes.
did.
I
Yes,
walked
they
over
did.
that bridge every
they
day
did.
for 7 months. It was
Been
awesome.
21 years. Yeah.
But that smelled really good.
It actually, I do think there are people who might take like some freshener or something like over that bridge because it actually doesn't smell terrible.
A little traffic note.
Uh-oh.
This place is an eyesore that has been empty for a while. If you are traveling around 72nd and Dodge,
I knew that's where
so
you're going.
72nd and Farnham,
The lights are out.
no, it's the old game room building
Yeah.
that is next to the worst parking lot in all of Omaha. That's got a Starbucks, it's got a T-Mobile, it's got Chipotle.
Oh yes,
that right
Now
there.
they added a
So
Mega
it's-
Saver
so
next
it's
door.
Yeah, so it's across the street. It's the old game room.
Yeah.
2-story building, but it's been empty. I drive by there quite a bit, so it's been empty for a while. Omaha firefighters had to tackle a blaze. It's
Oh, that's
completely
where it was.
abandoned.
Okay.
So I imagine traffic is a little bit of a mess at just off of Dodge at 72nd and Farnham. I always thought, because then there's like an old car wash next to it as well.
Yeah.
Like that stretch. I thought somebody would buy that up and, we get a nail salon and another like fancy dancy car wash.
Yeah, I was
but
gonna
those
say,
things just sit there. That's an eyesore. But there you go. There's my traffic for the morning.
Can you say it?
Traffic and
Can-
weather together on the 8s.
No, the other one.
The other one, what?
I'm Gary Sharp.
I'm Peter Krenzer. Thank you.
I'm Jolie Colbert.
Thank you, Adam. Carl Pelini in 2011.
Nice.
He got hired. He got hired right at the end of the year at the first part of December.
Mhm.
Went from being the defensive coordinator here to the Florida Atlantic head coach,
Didn't quite work.
and not that long afterwards, got in trouble.
Was there any? Has there been no one in between Carl and?
No,
No.
It's been.
You're lucky there was Carl.
It's been 14 years. That's crazy.
you know what?
That's-
I mean, for the longest time, being an assistant at Nebraska
Oh my God.
was
pretty
really,
good.
really good. I mean, you were paid well. You liked who you worked for.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You just you were
Got great guys, and you taught
Yeah.
them, and you
you
coached
were
them
you're
up
only going to leave for the right job. I mean,
You won.
Frank
a lot.
Frank was up for Minnesota, Kansas before he got the Nebraska job. Tim Beck really wanted the KU job,
I remember.
but KU couldn't hire him because Bo's staff got fired in 14.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like Tim Beck
Oh, I remember.
aggressively, and
Yeah.
I think there was mutual
Sure.
interest,
Mhm.
but it was tough to sell. We just hired the OC off a staff that got blown out in
yeah.
Lincoln.
Yeah.
Because he was part of the 07 Orange Bowl
Yeah.
staff, and he recruited a lot of those guys. So yeah, he was very much down the road on that. But
So I look forward to when Dana meets with the media next Tuesday and somebody going Oklahoma State and what his response will be. It'll be a
Yeah.
professional response.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is he done as a head coach? Does he want to give it one more whirl? Does he like where he's at? Does he want to give 2 more years here and see what happens?
I think he's
It pays well to do
I
what he
think
does.
he's given off the vibe of he would want one more shot at
Okay.
at being
It's the
a head
right
coach.
fit.
And his, I know that he's got family who's in coaching as
Yeah.
well, and so I think that he would, if you're looking from a Dana perspective,
Yeah.
he could become the head coach at Oklahoma State or the head coach at any other Big 12 program, and then
Yeah.
bring his son along, and
Yeah,
you know,
who's-
and
Now, what is it? Official title is what is it? Rob's official title is AGM.
yes, assistant
they've
general
thought
manager.
of very highly inside the
In-
walls
in-
of Nebraska
In-
football.
incredibly highly. And so I think that could be a motivation for Dana too, of like, hey, I'm going to take this
But-
job and I'm going to bring my kid. I'm going
but-
to make him my GM.
But what about this? If Dana wants to be a head coach, the guy that gets him his next job isn't Dana. His name is Dylan.
Yes.
Hey, Dylan waited until Dana signed. So they're paired together. hopefully for the next 2 years, because Dylan can't stay beyond next year. Okay, that's going to ruin everything. Okay, so let's go. Let's go. Prove Fornelli wrong. Get to the NFL. You're down to 20 regular season games that you're going to start at Nebraska, but I think Dylan could help Dana get his next job if that's where Dana wants to go.
Sure.
And Dana can kind of help Dylan get to his next job where he wants to go when he's playing at the next level, not at another school.
This is Jerry Maguire. Help me, help you.
Exactly.
Help me, help. Now, with Dana, you might totally disagree with this. Do you think it might be a double-edged sword in a way, having Dylan as your quarterback to get a next head coaching job? Because the program that's hiring says, okay, yeah, you did a great job. Nebraska ended up winning these amount of games. Dylan looked really good, but can you get a 5-star here? Are you going to be able to get a similar talent to Oklahoma State? Are you going to be able to recruit that guy and get him here? Because the success you've had after Houston has only been dependent on having a super talented quarterback.
I would add this to the conversation is he has had quarterbacks prior to Dylan that made the NFL.
Yes.
So you just go out, he's a quarterback whisperer. Again, his name's on a lot of lists just because of the connection. I think if it gets down the road, it's more him than Oklahoma State, but we will see. Weird things happen. People may not look at the Oklahoma State job the way that others do. So last night, I have to say a big thanks to the Nebraska Greats Foundation, which had their fall event over at Happy Hollow, and it was Beyond the Mat, a tribute to Nebraska wrestling. And the Nebraska Greats, Monty Kratzenstein, along with Chris Brown, Eric Crouch, could go on and on, a lot of familiar names that are involved with that organization. They help student athletes, not just from Nebraska, but from all over the state, Kraton, Omaha, Nebraska, of athletes in their post-playing career that are in need. We honored last night a young woman named Tesla Davis, who played softball at Peru State, and she was diagnosed with ALS in 2018. Nebraska Greats began to help her with the purchase of a bed and helping her with bills beginning in 2019. She unfortunately last month passed away. So it's a fantastic organization. They do events throughout the state. The one that I really want to be part of is when we go golfing in Gothenburg. I know you're listening, Monty, but Monty's great, and it's and Brett. It's the whole organization is fantastic. But last night they did a tribute to Nebraska wrestling, which 39 days from now, Nebraska wrestling starts. They just got their Big Ten schedule yesterday.
Okay.
It might be seem a little bit late, but schedules.
I was gonna say.
I mean, the basketball schedules just came out.
Don't they have to book the hotels and plan the travel and I'm sorry guys, now that I'm an adult with my miles now, I can tell you right now a Marriott, a month out doesn't get any cheaper. Okay.
So and great to see everybody was there last night. It was packed. There were a lot of familiar faces. But Mark Manning, who's going into his 26th year as the head coach, Brian Snyder, who has got an incredible story. Now, he's one of the most celebrated wrestlers in the history of Nebraska wrestling. He was 136-11, and he's been at the hip of Mark Manning for the last 17 years. And who knows how long Coach Manning's going to go. I say he's got 5-7 years now. He's got 2 high school sons. He's got a really good one of his sons is a really good high school quarterback at Lincoln East. But Brian Snyder is I think the next head coach at Nebraska.
Yeah.
I had him tell a story. He got out of wrestling. He is a brilliant mind, but he was going to be a doctor. So he went to Boulder. He went to CU in Boulder, and he still wanted to be around wrestling. And so he was coaching at Denver East, which is an inner city school, which they really don't have a wrestling program. If kids are wrestling, it's usually they got in trouble or they just plucked them out of the hallways.
Sure.
Because it's a basketball school known for their basketball. And he said it taught him working with those kids that wrestling was where he should be. And so he came, he got involved at Arizona State, and then Mark Manning hired him. And then Antrell Taylor was there last night.
That's awesome.
So people don't know the story of Antrell. And I told Antrell this, and I told this story to the whole audience. We did a little panel, and so asked him questions and had him talk about the program and kind of their background, all this stuff. So watching Antrell at Millard South, I always thought, man, you're going to Nebraska for the wrong reason. Why don't you go there and play football? Because he was a really good wide receiver playing for Andy Means. But wrestling was always his thing. His mom, Tammy, and then his late father, Daryl, Antrell, they tried to get him to play basketball, but he was tackling kids. Flag football, he was tackling too many kids that they forced him to play tackle football when he was 6.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because he was just like,
he was a
machine.
Yeah.
So he got into wrestling, and the rest kind of is history.
Yeah.
He's a 2-time All-American, and he is the reigning champ at 157. You should see the ring that he has. So it's his championship ring. I took a picture of it. It's on my Twitter page. It probably doesn't do it justice. It's huge. But those 3 guys are such great ambassadors for the University of Nebraska athletic department and that sport in general. It was a lot of fun last night. And they are, as you know, looking forward to a big season. They're still chasing Penn State.
Yeah.
But the NIL is better for Nebraska wrestling. They're bringing back 7 All-Americans. Ferrari from North Carolina is here. Thank you, Jordan Hudson, for steering him away from North Carolina and to Nebraska. But here's the question, because I saw what Dannon said. So Dannon last night was on his radio show.
Yep.
And he said that there's going to be more Nebraska volleyball in PBA.
Yes. Okay, but he said at least once a year. He said at least once a year. I'm in full support. I'm in full support of it.
I love the John at the Bob played on the Terry because I think it's an incredible home court advantage.
That's probably the best way I've heard somebody put that.
But once they played the AVCA showcase in August downtown in Lincoln, and you saw the crowd, and it looked good.
They were surrounding the bus like they were Selena.
So you knew that the financial part, because there are a lot of people that can't get into that building. I mean, it's sold out.
No.
They can't get into the building.
And
so
student tickets are a nightmare.
Now you add, by the way, Nebraska wrestling is going to have a student section this year.
Great.
Yeah.
Good for them.
They haven't had that. They're going to have a student section. So, more people, more, not just students, but more fans can get access to watch Nebraska volleyball. So I'm not surprised that they're going to play one match. I believe that it'll be the Kraton match.
Oh, it should be.
Yeah. So if I had to project down the road, I would say Nebraska Kraton, instead of playing at the John at the Bob on the Terry floor, they will play at PBA. But here's the other one.
Okay.
So
the John at the Bob on the Terry.
Mark Manning
so dumb.
Wants the Devaney Center to be sold out more often.
Yeah.
Last year they broke the record. They had 6,700 for Penn State. I was there. They put on a great show.
Sure.
Penn State was a wagon that night.
Mm-hmm.
But Nebraska was in it, but Penn State,
they held their own. But they are the.
But it was 6,700. It's a really unique place. I loved going to the Coliseum to see wrestling. When you were right over the mats. But that building for wrestling is really good. Their schedule for wrestling this year is really good. They have Oklahoma State.
Great.
They have North Carolina.
Okay.
And they have the Bumblebees. Nice. So I asked Coach Manning. I said, this is a safe place. I go, like when you go to Vegas, what happens, Coach? In Vegas, stays in Vegas. Whatever happens in this room stays in this room, unless I hear something I like and I'm going to share it with our listeners.
I was about to say, you were literally going against what you just told him.
He slapped me on the knee when I said that. And
he hit you?
He just goes, He's
okay. That's fine.
He's been the head coach for 26 years. Bill Byrne and Bob Burton hired him.
That's crazy.
It's like
He looks good, by the way.
John Walker, John Cook, and Mark Manning have hung around through so many wild stuff that's happened in the Nebraska athletic department.
Hanging around.
So I said to him, the Bumblebees are on the schedule.
Yeah.
They're going to, when those tickets go on sale, there's going to be a lot of Bumblebees from that side of the river going to buy up tickets. I go, Pinnacle Bank Arena? He blew me off.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm going to take that as a yes.
Wait. How did he? Oh, sorry. Wait. How did he do that?
He did a really good job of then talking about, we got Army coming up in 40 days, and we're hoping to draw really well
at the Navy Classic.
He avoided it. So
okay.
We'll see. But Nebraska wrestling has just taken off, and it was great. Antrell has got a great story and winning. He said when he got ready to wrestle, because the one cool thing about last year when they won the at the NCAAs when Nebraska finished second,
is
Ridge Lovett won at 149, right
Yeah.
before Antrell wrestled at 157. Remember, you got President Trump is in the building.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska's had a good 2.5 days.
Yeah.
Antrell said, yeah, I was back in the room and they have it on TV. And he goes, I wasn't trying to watch, but my teammate was wrestling. And he goes, the thing that threw me off is they had, Antrell described it this way, a circus before I went out there. He said they had like a 10-minute circus before I went out and wrestled for the national championship.
You mean like the president walking?
No.
through the
Like the
tunnel?
president was like, something was going on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there you go. But thanks to the Nebraska greats, they've been very kind to me. They've been very kind to just hundreds of former athletes from colleges throughout Nebraska. More information, you can find them online. Monty was in a couple of weeks ago talking about the event and the organization. So it is great. D. Wayne was there last night.
Really?
You know, it's a big deal if D. Wayne is in the house.
Was he emceeing?
Yes. Well, technically I was the MC.
Yeah.
But he was like the auctioneer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's the auctioneer.
Is he good at auctioning?
Yeah.
Isn't that a skill that you have to like major
It is.
in?
I told him afterwards, I said, man, that was tough. Because they had some really cool, you go, a lot of us,
I've been to a
Gundy's
couple.
events, so you see,
they're cool.
You see and they had some, you have the wrestling program there. So they had like some special stuff and they had a really cool volleyball package and football as well. So yeah, that was,
I went to an auction for, remember the Kentucky Derby event that I went to?
Yeah.
And then I ended up losing all of my bets right in front of a bunch of people who are way too influential in the Omaha area. Everybody owned businesses and I'm literally slapping the ground, just begging. I forgot who I bet on. I forgot all those horses except for Sovereignty. But the auctioneer that we had for that event, I thought he was going to have a heart attack during that. Like his face got red. He blows up. Like it's like he's like a damn tomato. I couldn't imagine D. Wayne doing that.
Oh, it was good. It was good. Mike Denny was there last night. The former Omaha coach, man, coach looks great. And Mark Bauer, who longtime UNK wrestling coach, he was there last night. And of course, Coach Manning, wrestled for Coach Denny. So great event last night. If you were there, thanks for stopping by to say hello. But they're setting up for a huge year with Nebraska wrestling.
Okay, you might hate me for this. You've lost weight. We've talked about this. Like in the last year, you've lost. What was I forget your goal, and you were just.
So I wanted to lose 100 pounds in a year.
Yes,
and I got to 92.
You got to 92. Absolutely incredible. We're all very happy for you.
Well, thank you.
I saw the picture of you at the event. You can buy a new suit.
I know. So
you can like that thing is way too scary. It's way too big on you.
I know.
And maybe now I got a question for you. Okay. And you can answer this honestly.
You're afraid to buy it because jinx it.
Okay. Are you wearing the suit so people see how big it is on you and then they can notice how much weight you lost?
No.
And then they come up to you and be like, Gary, you look great.
No.
Okay.
No, because it's
because if you did that, that's a great play.
Because it goes with my favorite tie. So
that's something I would. Yes. I get that.
No, I've trust me, I've had the discussion. Thank you very much. Thank you for
this is all rooted in the fact that you've lost a lot of weight and you don't fit in the big suit, but you're the opposite of Tommy Boy. You're skinny man in a fat coat.
Thank you.
Oh,
thank you. But I did eat more than Antrell Taylor last night.
Well,
I was watching.
I mean, weighs 170 pounds.
157.
Well, he's not walking around.
I remember those days.
No, because I did kind of like he drinks water and.
Yeah, he's healthy. Yeah, he's a world-class athlete. He's a national champion.
I don't know how wrestlers do that.
You don't see Antrell Taylor missing a practice because of a molar being taken out of his mouth.
Bear Cave probably went back to the facility afterwards and shot. Just the media were not there.
What's with his? You want to trust a guy that doesn't brush his teeth?
He's from Turkey.
What does that mean?
I believe that it is proven. And
that they don't brush their teeth in Turkey? That's a really rude generalization.
No, not brush their teeth, but I don't believe there are a ton of dentist offices in Turkey.
We'll find out.
I was about to say, Jimmy, you want to look that up? I
dentist
don't know.
in Turkey.
I make claims on things that maybe I don't have the best knowledge on. That's the amount of dentists in Turkey is not one I'm willing to.
How much do they cost?
My ass
Are they easy to get in?
When we come back, we'll catch up on some emails. And do we need to talk about Dylan?
Yes.
Whoa. What are we going to talk about?
I love talking about Dylan.
What's there left to talk about?
Because he's a dude. Because he's good at football.
Do we need to talk about Dylan anymore, or do we just wait until the next game and let games speak?
Hey, what a great
Can
idea.
I talk about Dylan and say that his average depth of target was 8.1? So don't look at yards per attempt. 8.1 is actually a pretty decent ADOT. So let's stop. Let's stop talking about the whole dink and dunk thing.
Or is the more impressive thing through 4 games is only 1 interception?
No.
Okay.
Because he should have more.
Well, we're playing this game.
No, we're not. This isn't Gary. It's not about turnovers. It's about what? Turnover worthy percentage. Okay. And his turnover worthy percentage is higher than his turnovers.
So do you also get credit for like touchdown worthy, bad situational awareness,
unrealized
back of the end zone?
Unrealized yards is a thing. And no, this is a real Gary. This is a real statistic. Unrealized
that subscription for you on PFF is worth it.
No, unrealized yards for either drops or falls, or they take statistics of what should have been added on because of the Jimmy's shaking his head like nerds have ruined football.
Yeah,
this is true.
Too many numbers.
Analytics do not have eyes or emotions.
Yeah. You know that I handle.
Sometimes you kick the damn field goal
both ways. I watch the game both ways. Okay, I'm not saying Pythagorean wins, right? I'm not talking about DVOA.
Look up his war. We'll discuss it next on 1620 The Zone.
There is a football war. We can look at.
No math here, just gambling. Football's back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. And you can play right now at Nebraska. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. And if you get your picks right, you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. This week on Underdog, I've talked about it all week because I still believe in it. Cowboys are bad. The Packers, less bad. Packers want some revenge. Well, not the Packers, but Micah Parsons. So think Packers go higher against that awful Cowboys defense. And Dak Prescott will play better. Maybe he'll go higher. We'll see. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code ZONE to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. It's promo code ZONE. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks, win money. Must be 19 plus and present in Nebraska. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Guns are with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit ncpgambling.org.
Hi, good Wednesday morning, everybody. Except if you're a Detroit Tiger fan that has watched Cleveland pick up 10 games in the last 17 days.
Morning shave.
Yeah. Hey, the Cleveland Guardians lead, and they have the tiebreaker. So I'm going to say they're leading the AL Central, and they have a negative run differential.
Sorry. Weren't they back like 11 games in September?
It was over.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's, I mean, this
Auto.
is, and I've referenced this team probably more than I've referenced any team that we've ever talked about, but the Detroit Tigers are having their 2019 Cubs moment.
26 and 38 since July 8th.
Astros and Tigers can play each other on the couch.
Well, that would be a huge implosion. And last year, remember, it was Detroit that came from behind to make the playoffs.
Yeah, these AL Central teams are just weird.
Royals got eliminated last night. If you missed that, Cole Reagan's looked pretty good.
Sorry,
but
Connor.
the Royals will not be in the postseason. Well, they had all 5 starting pitchers to spend at least a little bit on the IL, maybe under probably expectations this year. But if you still want to watch, they have the Royals might do something that they are the only team in Major League Baseball that has never done this. They have never had 2 guys hit 30 home runs and drive in over 100 runs in the same year. They have one. Like Pasquantino has had a really good. I think he has Schwarber hit his 54th last night for the Phillies. I think Schwarber has the most RBIs since the All-Star break, and Vinny is second. But the Royals have never had 2 guys hit 30 dongs and drive in 100 or more. Salvi is 3 RBIs away. So there you go. There's something. There's something to watch. You can come watch our pregame show and hang out and watch other people get ready for the Michigan State game. Go to 1620thezone.com. Enter for your chance to win 2 tickets to the Ultimate Blur tailgate party before Nebraska, Michigan State at 3:00 next Saturday.
Perfect game time.
Both teams are on a bye. Nebraska's on this run now where they're playing teams that are coming off a bye. Michigan State is one. USC will be one. Mixed Sportsbook.
Yes.
On the stream, we were talking about what we think the line might be.
Oh,
is there? I said
like yours.
I said,
Interesting.
Well, I said 5.5 when it comes out on Sunday for Nebraska, Michigan State.
I love it. I think that's perfect.
That's
I would
fair.
tell you that the over-under, I would probably say 49 and a half.
They're coming off a 45-31 game. Nebraska's 30-27. So a little bit low.
Maybe a little low.
More Big Ten.
But am I really willing to put it like at 53 and a half between these 2 teams? I mean, that's kind of.
You see a 27-20 type.
That's
game.
a
27,
high. Like I would
23.
say anything. I don't think any lower than 49, and I don't think any higher than 52 and a half.
Oh.
That's probably where I would put the total. I got a question for you.
Fire away.
What are the James Madison Dukes like? Like where'd you pull that from?
Severe.
So they kicked ass last week.
They blew out Liberty.
They double covered. Okay. Wasn't even competitive. Their line opened at like 16 and a half. And it was one of the biggest, it opened at like 11 and a half. And now it's all the way up to 16 and a half. It is one of the highest moving lines from open to now, where we're trending. Are the Dukes a wagon? What's going on?
Big Jim's good.
Like what's
makes Signetti look really good.
Yeah.
Makes Signetti look really, really good. But when you've dropped that, I don't know if you want to go back and you want to watch the tape. Like you go James Madison minus 9.5. I go Jesus. And the reason why I said that was because I knew you knew something. Like you don't pick JMU unless you know for sure that they're probably going to win their game. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Where'd you go? 2 and 3?
And then he drops that.
We only picked 3 games.
Yeah, 2 and 3.
So 2 and 1.
2 of 3.
Yes.
Okay.
The safety in the Arizona San Francisco game kind of.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
that affected you?
Yes.
Okay. So I haven't told you this. I'm going to make a graphic for Friday.
Okay.
We're
Scary.
no, I'm
Spoiled
going
the
to make a
surprise.
graphic for
Tell me
you
what you're
for
getting me
our
Christmas
picks
next.
thing, and then I'm going to make a second graphic that I'm not going to tell you about, but we will show, and it'll be funny.
Because we both went 2 and 1 last week.
I think I went 1 and 2 again.
Okay. Well, this competition's already over.
No, it's not, because you have added in this rule that if you go 3 for 3, you get 20 points.
Yeah.
So if I go 3 for 3, which you never know. I'm on a cooler. I'm due for a heater.
So I was looking up during the break because
Good way to put it.
you're all over PFF because
I am.
you're throwing out
These
some
make numbers.
your Dylan stuff. Okay.
Well,
his
his turnover worthy percentages against Power 5 teams not great, but his turnover worthy percentage overall one of the best in the country. Like not even close.
okay.
Like he's like in the top 10.
Okay. I'm just gonna let games speak. We did it for 2 days. I'll just let games speak, but I know that the numbers out there. I just ran across this. And I don't know why I stopped on it. Do you know who has the #1 rushing defense in college football?
#1 rushing defense.
Now, I will preface this by saying they've only played 3 games.
Is it Notre Dame?
Minnesota.
Okay. Notre Dame's defense is terrible. Why the hell did I say that?
Chris
That's
Ash is like,
an awful.
I need Matt McMaster
That's
as
an
my
awful
agent.
shout for me. That's one of my worst guesses ever.
Minnesota is only giving up 41 yards per game on the ground. Now, Cal chucked it around a lot. But they're #1 in rush defense. I don't know. Wisconsin is 3rd in rush defense. Iowa is 7th. Michigan is 14th. Indiana is 20th in rush defense. Will that change this weekend for Minnesota? They play Rutgers. But I asked you a question as we were finishing the show yesterday, and I'm going to change the question. Because as we're getting now like further away from the game, you're like, okay, don't get caught up in the emotion, don't overreact, all that stuff. Kind of keep it, hey,
keep it together.
Yeah. Are you ready to close Michigan and talk about bigger picture or whatever? I'm going to ask this question to you and to everybody else because I'm curious on people's opinion through 4 games.
Okay.
What are we? 7, 12, 25, 29. We're 29 games in, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Matt Rule as the head coach?
Yes.
And they look different compared to the same spot last year. And even in a majority of the spots at the end of last year.
Yeah.
But the record is the same as it was last year, basically. Through 4-3-1. Do you think after watching the Michigan game, and then you add the other 3 games in, do you think that Nebraska is right on schedule
for a year 3 Matt Rule jump?
For 29 games in?
No.
Okay.
I think they're a year off schedule.
So this is
year 2.
I don't want to. Yeah. Okay.
I'll put it in my mouth. I'll say it.
No. I'm not. You're going to find a lot of people that agree with you, but you're also going to find people like I'm playing the PJ Fleck crap.
Sure.
Yeah. This is year 2, but do you think this is again for everybody? And then you can explain why this feels like year 2, because again, you're not alone. Does Nebraska feel like they're right on schedule?
Okay. So I say they're a year off of schedule because I'm going off of the arbitrary, it takes Matt Rule 3 years thing, right?
Okay.
But if we're just talking about on schedule to eventually contend for a playoff or win 9 or 10 games next season or this season, I would say more than likely, yes. Yes, they are on schedule to eventually compete. I don't think there has been anything in these. I came into this season thinking that at some point a Matt Rule-led Nebraska football team would make the college football playoff. I still think a Matt Rule-led Nebraska team at some point will make the college football playoff. More than likely not this year, okay? But I do think they're on schedule to do that. If we're going off of the Matt Rule timeline, they are off schedule. I think they are, because I think they're in year 2.
Just 4 games in?
Yeah. I think they're, well, we kind of had this conversation in the offseason about if you look at what Matt Rule did at Temple and Matt Rule did at Baylor, it's actually very different from what he did at Nebraska, because when he got to Temple and Baylor, and he even admitted this himself in the press conferences, he didn't kick anybody out, but he played a lot of young guys. And a lot of those dudes who ended up winning 10, 11 games for those respective teams had played a ton of football before they got to year 3. When he got here to Nebraska, he didn't do that. He didn't play young guys. He actually took basically the entire 2022 team and said, okay, we're going to not re-rack the deck, but we're going to go and we're going to use you guys and we're going to try and win right away. Now, in year 3, he's got 90 plus guys who are either redshirt sophomores, true freshmen, redshirt sophomores, right? So now you are in the phase of you are playing a lot of young guys.
Mm-hmm.
And next year would be hey, a lot of your young guys are now old guys. They have a ton of experience. Now you can go on and win. So if we're going just off of the Matt Rule timeline, I think they're a year behind.
Okay. And I bring that up after rewatching the game. Like, part of Saturday, if you're going to lose, man, make it a huge gap in talent.
Yes.
I think the thing on the second go around that is frustrating about Saturday, and there were opportunities to be had, man, Nebraska made a lot of mental mistakes, but not mental mistakes by young guys.
Wasn't it?
Mental mistakes by guys that have played college football for a few years or more.
So what you're talking about is what I've said this before. There's nothing more frustrating than it being fixable. You know, because I've watched a lot of bad football, and to me, I'm like,
I got you beat.
I'm just like, how about you don't false start? You know, how about you don't line up off sides? How about you learn how to disengage a block?
Mm-hmm.
How about you learn to pick up your head and run through the hole? Like, those are fixable things. That's what you're referring to. The fact that it's fixably frustrating.
But some of this stuff, like in these games, continues to happen. Like the simple poor recognition, poor run fit. Just doing your job. You know, we always say, the simple thing was make a play.
Yeah.
But like, not make a play and you're like, oh man, you're an 18-year-old kid chasing a 23-year-old. It's like you're in a position to make a play. Like, just the simple things.
They've had a problem with safety angles dating back to Miles Farmer. You know, like that's a fact. Like they've had a problem with multiple safeties on how they come in and how they collapse. And, you know, Deshaun, I think, has been sans of that more than anyone else. But even in the Cincinnati game, he took a bad angle or two where you're thinking, all right, hey, you got to come down and hammer it. But I will never get over the line penalties either.
So let me go back to, let me find it here. I wrote it down. The question I asked yesterday, because we can throw this into a discussion. We'll get to Daniel here in just 1 second.
Yeah. It's a great question.
What if the team that played against Michigan on Saturday is just who they are, and that's who they're going to be their whole season? Then can't they win 9 games?
No,
because they're good enough to beat teams, but they're not good enough to beat Michigan, USC, and Penn State. Hold that thought. Here's Daniel. Daniel, good morning. Thanks for the phone call.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
I had I guess, an angle on this I was going to submit to you guys.
Sure. Okay.
It will arrive at the same conclusion that somebody brought up yesterday, which there was disagreement on. So we're going to get to the same endpoint, but a different way of getting there. Because I said the same thing to my son during the game. So, allow me just 10 seconds of grace here.
You're fine.
Danny, the volleyball coach, came in and told them it's going to take 17 of us to win in December. Right? And it sounds like coach speak, right?
Sure.
And then when we had that, I think it was Kentucky, not playing Kentucky, down there in Tennessee when they were playing them, and she took the libero shirt off Laney and gave it to the other girl, right? Because they had lost 2 matches in a row.
Yep.
And then we did the reverse sweep. And after that, it was like all the girls knew I told you, be ready.
Yeah.
It's going to take all of us to win. And I will make adjustments as I need to hang a banner. And I was like, interesting. She means it. Right? So yesterday, we're talking about, is it the lineman? Is it Dylan? Is it the receivers not getting open? The back and forth. And guy presented something. So here's the angle is, Dylan's not the most mobile. Great arm. 7-8 sacks plus the 3 he avoided, but potentially 10. So here's the question that I threw out during the game. And I'm trying to submit it to you, and I'll hang up. Is, for whatever reason or reasons, if Pocket's collapsing and he's running around getting sacked, laying on his back all game, why not make an adjustment and put in fast speed quarterback? So at least if the Pocket collapses, he can take off. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, why keep doing the same thing and just hoping something changes? Lineman's not working today. Do something different. There you go. Thank you for your time.
Daniel, thank you. Matt?
Dylan Raiola is a much better quarterback than TJ Lateef, regardless of TJ Lateef's ability to be mobile in the pocket. If you look at just the statistics, and if you just use your eyes, right? I mean, he literally, and I appreciate the call, but he kind of gave me the argument against, where he goes, minus the 3 sacks that he would have given up that he avoided. He avoided 3 sacks. He like, Dylan has the ability and has shown the ability that even when the pocket does collapse, that he can maneuver around the pocket, that he can step through the pocket and still make a throw. I think that's the best part. That's the part of his game that's improved the most. So no, I'm just going to very calmly say, I think Dylan has performed well enough to where I don't even think that's a compliment.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. Jay Moore is going to join us coming up at the next top of the next hour. Also, John Walker, Kraton men's basketball starts practice today. A little bit, we'll also ask him about Kraton women's basketball because a lot of new faces as they began practice yesterday. But the men get going today. Also, we'll get John's perspective. Before he was hired by the World Herald, he was in Stillwater covering the Cowboys.
Great point.
So he'll have a thought?
Hell yeah.
All right.
You didn't think that was going to go there.
We're back with more Gary and Matt with Jimmy after this in 1620 The Zone. All right, Jay Moore's going to join us here in a little bit. We'll ask him about that.
Okay. About teeth?
No.
This is an incredible renaissance for you because I told you, I warned you that this was the thing. And I think you thought that I was crazy. And now we have gone through the last 3 days and we get a call every single day about it. And I think you're kind of flabbergasted by it. This is an actual existing storyline for people.
Hey, it makes me excited for the future of the quarterback position. The room must be in a good spot, which it is. But I respect people's opinion. People are pretty passionate. Just let the game speak. Let the game
use your eyes.
Let the game speak for 15. And don't let us have this discussion that clouds over a real discussion that has to happen about red zone issues. But with that said, and maybe that's what Jay Moore will ask him about, the red zone issues, by the way, there are two things that I'm going to point out.
Okay.
Last year, Nebraska didn't spend much time in the red zone, which is crazy. They've got to spend more time in the end zone when they do get into the red zone, because those are issues that are tied to a little bit of why we're having this discussion about Dylan in a collapsing pocket, so on and so forth. But you found a stat on Dylan.
I did. I found a lot of stats.
Dylan Appreciation Day on Wednesday. What was the adjusted?
Oh,
this crazy adjusted. If the wind is blowing out of the south,
yes.
Passing percentage.
So adjusted completion percentage is your completion percentage if you were to eliminate drops. Okay, and Dylan's adjusted completion percentage is 81.7%. He's sixth in the country. If you look at Dylan Raiola's NFL graded score, right? What would his NFL grades be and contributed toward the NFL? He's actually ninth in the country. He's one spot behind Diego Pavia. Here's another one though that I just found. That,
by the way, Big Ten quarterbacks. Hello,
because I've been tinkering around with PFF and I finally found a way to do what I want to do with this website. Average time in the pocket. Dylan Raiola, 2.78 seconds. That qualifies as 57th.
Okay,
in college football.
So Saturday,
definitely.
So when the pocket was clean, he got the ball out at 2.34.
Okay.
When it was dirty, he held on to it to 3.55.
As a frame of reference, number one in the country, Mark Gronowski, 3.38 seconds in pocket.
Okay. Curious to see how he deals with Indiana's defense. Let's finish the hour. Nate, you can't swear on the air, but good morning on the Prairie Flower Casino.
Gary, you know I don't do that.
I know. That was in the back. That was back in the day.
Yeah, like years and years upon years ago. How you been, man?
Good. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right. Driving late to work, I overslept. But
okay.
God's good.
I feel it, man. Happens to all of us.
Here's the thing. I love this contextual analysis going on among current quarterbacks and whatnot. But I'm going to kind of read my own post here that I put on social media because I compared all the Heisman winning seasons statistically to the pace that Raiola's on. He's basically between Kyler Murray and Jaden Daniels' Heisman season. He's way behind Burrows because Burrows smoked everybody. But Raiola is actually on pace to exceed the statistical wins of Bryce Young, Troy Smith, Danny Werfel, Chris Winkie, Carson Palmer, Jason White, Matt Leinart, and Johnny Manziel. Anybody that thinks that Raiola should be benched, swapped out, or take more than 2 plays to get some oxygen and water is an idiot. I mean, he's literally, if Nebraska wins 8 or 9 games and he keeps this pace, they won't have an option but to at least give him an invite to New York because he's going to be better than 80% of the Heisman winning quarterbacks' Heisman campaigns. And whether we won the game or not, he's already got the Hail Mary Heisman moment.
Yeah.
The discussion is irrelevant and stupid. It's run the ball guy not understanding football at all, and not even modern football, but football that goes back to the 90s. Again, Raiola's smoking Danny Werfel's numbers. He's beaten Peyton Manning's 3 out of 4 seasons that Peyton played at Tennessee. What do you want from this kid? Seriously,
yeah.
I don't get it. Always good to talk to you, brother. Have a great day.
Thank you, Nate.
Sorry, I want to apologize real quick. I read the stat wrong. This is average time to throw.
Okay.
So it takes them 2.68 seconds to throw the ball. Okay, which ranks 57th.
Yep. So they want to get it to 2.5.
Okay.
So he's 2.7 going into the Michigan game.
And when he's not under pressure, it's 2.63.
Jay Moore. We'll ask him what we want, what we need out of QB1. Plus and many other things that Jay observed on Saturday. He's coming up next on 1620 The Zone. All right, we a little bit adjustment of the schedule, but as always, we get Mr. Blackshoot from Big Red Wrap-Up. Jay Moore joins us. Good Wednesday morning, my friend. How are you?
Good. Yeah, thanks for adjusting. Got some meetings this morning, but good to be with you guys. I'm sure we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. All right. Let's just jump right into this because you've heard it for a couple of days. I know you listen to the show.
Thanks.
Dylan Raiola, 49 dropbacks, pressured 34 times, threw for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. First quarterback to do that against Michigan since Stetson Bennett did it for Georgia almost 4 years ago. And I think every game from here on out is always about a Dylan conversation. Good, bad, ugly, whatever.
Yeah.
Just who he is. But what's your thoughts on the discussion about Dylan post the game on Saturday?
My thought is, again, I think you're spot on. There will always be a discussion, whether it's good, bad, and different, comparing him to Mahomes, whatever it is. I think he's playing at a very, very high level. Not only one of the best in the Big Ten, but one of the best in the country right now. And how he is efficiency. Look at all his numbers. Look at the data. I mean, he's top 10 in the country on how he's operating. I know people get frustrated with lack of mobility, and he's increased it from last year. He got out of a couple dicey situations in that game yesterday, on Saturday. But listen, Nebraska is not in that football game without him on Saturday. He's going to keep playing. All these people that think that Latif needs to get a shot because he has mobility, maybe has more arm strength. Listen, this offense, Dylan has full control of this offense. Rule and Holgerson have full trust in him, and it's not going to change. And he is damn good. I get it. I get frustrated as well with sometimes not stepping up in the pocket and just getting rid of the football. But that's every quarterback has a propensity to do that at times. Mahomes does that sometimes too in Kansas City. Other quarterbacks do it across the NFL. So listen, I think he's playing at a high level. He's going to keep getting better. Trust me, they're going to continue fixing this offensive line and finding him protection in different ways. If they got to switch out positioned, tackles for different people, chipping more, doing things, getting the ball out of his hands quicker, that will happen. And he just, I have full trust when he's in there. I know he is going. He's made one bad decision with the football, really. He's had one turnover in 4 games and 1 interception. And that one we had against in Michigan on Saturday, they just did a good job of kind of cherry picking and kind of disguising coverages, and he got fooled. And Michigan's a good team; it's a good defense. That's going to happen sometimes, but he's playing at a high level, and I'm excited to see how this offense continues to progress. Hopefully, get some run game help and get him a little more protection, and he's going to continue to play at a high level.
Yeah, I think that the argument about the lack of mobility maybe within the pocket might be warranted because, I mean, his pressure to sack percentage is 28%. That means 28% of the time when he gets pressured, he ends up getting sacked. And that is number 1 in the country amongst qualified quarterbacks. But I think it was very nicely said by you, Jay. Like, you just kind of have to take the good with the bad. And you look at all the other raw statistics. He is a top 10 quarterback. He's playing like that in the country. Do you think, though, that this whole 5-star moniker it has kind of gone against him, and the expectation is for him to play damn near perfect?
A little bit. Last night with Andy Kennedy was on the show, and he kind of brought up a good topic too, of how now fan bases and fans in general are kind of factoring in what players are getting paid.
Yeah.
And making judgment on that. Now it's kind of NFL, right? So and so is making. He decided a $200 million contract. He's making X amount of dollars a year. He better perform like he's making. He has 2 commas in his salary, right, or his NIL, whatever it is. I think that's adds some of that to it. And obviously, we know Dylan's getting compensated very well at Nebraska, and he should. So I think that's a bit of a factor. But he is damn good. I mean, those off. I was out of pocket throws, dropping arm angles, doing all these things that he's done within his offense, kind of creating. Those are high level stuff. And listen, Nebraska with his immobility, Nebraska is put behind the 8 ball just slightly. you are playing essentially 10 on 11 football because with his inability to run, he is not a threat to keep it in a zone read or anything like that. So that Nebraska's already behind the 8 ball in offensively already. Teams aren't going to, they're going to sit back there with 2 high safeties and just say, hey, we know he can't run. We know you're struggling to run the football in general. We're not going to let him beat you with his arm. And we can do some things. So Nebraska has to attack that differently and try to find other unique ways to let this offense go without a true mobile quarterback back there. But what he's done and playing 10, 11 football, I mean, it's really, really good. I mean, I know I just get as frustrated as all the fan bases watching him play and getting the sacks, but some of that's on him, some of that's on the offensive line. They got to protect better and do a better job. But I think I'm totally confident Nebraska will find ways to clean things up, get things fixed, and Nebraska will be better because of this performance against Michigan. They got punched in the mouth a little bit, and I know you want to win everything, trending in the right directions, but I truly believe that they're gonna find ways to fix this and get it fixed by Michigan State.
Speaking of fix, because you're a fixer, but you're also a guy that your whole goal was to put the quarterback in the ground. Were you taken aback by maybe Michigan's edges being faster than you thought, or Nebraska's tackles being on the struggle bus? What surprised you the most, and what is fixable the next time you see guys on the edge that can get to the quarterback with one quick, just straight up the field move?
Yeah, I tell you what, I thought Nebraska's O-line would play better, and I drastically undervalued Michigan's front four. There's 7 guys that they play up there. That they got some dudes. Number one's a dude for Michigan, and I just shame on me for not. I mean, I've watched a little. Obviously watched a good amount of the Oklahoma game and a little bit of their Central Michigan game, but they got some cats that can flat get after with speed and athleticism, and they're gonna be playing on Sundays. So there's something to that. And I'm a little concerned that Nebraska had, with Gotula and Prohaska, they struggled. Nebraska needs to find a way to get Pritchett up to speed. I think he's their most talented guy that they have. There's a reason why they got him from Alabama and they paid him money to get here. They got to work with him, whether it's a mental thing or whatever, to get him up to speed, because I think he's your best option going forward at one of the tackle spots. And maybe you move him to right tackle because he played that consistently at Nebraska, and just get him on the field to help him out. But very, very surprised. With Nebraska's depth and the amount of guys that have played a ton of snaps on the O-line, I just was a little shocked by that performance. But again, I think you got to tip your hat to Michigan and Wink Martindale. I mean, that his ability to call up the plays and how they attack this offense was really, really good. But the other thing that's also frustrating too is they got home with 3 guys one time, and that's inexcusable as an offensive line. I mean, you have 5 guys, they have 3. You should own them. They should not do that. That he just kind of split the guard and tackle on the right side there and made a play, and tip of the cap to him, but that can't happen. So I know Coach Raiola is working on, Donnie's working with them, getting in their ear. They're probably practicing right now this morning, getting ready to, and getting better. But that was both. I undervalued Michigan's, front 4, 5, 6, 7 guys, and I thought Nebraska's O-line would handle it better, but obviously that was not the case.
So Nebraska's red zone percentage, and this is including field goals as well. This isn't just touchdowns. It's field goals plus touchdowns. The red zone percentage is 81% in scoring in the red zone. It's 80th in the country. I think we've kind of done this thing with the Dana Holgorsen offense where it visually looks better, but you go back and you look at the points, 10 points against Iowa, 20 points against USC. If you take away the Hail Mary against Michigan, right? I mean, that's another 20 points. Jay, when you watch this team, like, what is the red zone issue? Is it a play calling thing? Is it a design thing? Or is it just guys not executing?
I think I would say execution's been is a problem. Play calling, it gets tough. It gets so hard down there when the field gets condensed.
Sure.
And you're operating in close quarters. I know being on the defensive side of the ball, sometimes you get down there and your chance of being more successful against certain offenses and against passing teams. Nebraska is more of a passing team. You like your chances in the red zone just because of the condensing of the field, and you don't have to, they can't stretch the field, right, and work underneath routes and do certain things. So Nebraska's got to find the way of run the football better in the red zone. They got, whether it's Emmett or Mekhi Nelson, maybe start utilizing a guy like Quentin Ives with a bigger body in there to get those hard, tough yards down there. But they got to do a better job in some short yardage situations running the football. We're talking 10 and 11 football down there, that's where it matters in the red zone. I wouldn't be surprised. I would love to see, and I know you're kind of, showing your hand, and that's okay, is utilizing Harburg down there at the QB position and just say, hey, it's 11 on 11 now. There's, and I know Dylan's kept it in the past, but it's just not a true threat down there. So I trying to do something a little more unique down there with Heinrich and doing some things just to force the defense's hands, because Nebraska's behind the 8 ball with they're short a guy. I think execution has been some of it. Play calling is tough when you struggle running the football. It makes it tough, and you have a quarterback that's not as mobile and not a true threat to run it. It's hard to score in the red zone if you don't have those two key options of running the football down there.
Yeah, this is a good Sam McEwen stat. So Nebraska currently in the red zone rushing the ball 2.78 yards per carry, tied for 82nd nationally. They haven't been above 3 yards per carry inside the opponent's 20 since 2021. Let's go over to the other side of the ball. And this is where I'm going to rely on you to make us smarter, because sometimes we get lazy and we say, oh, bad run fit. That was a problem on Saturday. Mm-hmm. So there's a particular touchdown scored by Michigan where Shavers goes into one area and Buford comes up and Haynes runs by him. Should have been like a 5-yard carry. Instead, it's a house call. How does that happen? Like, walk us through. Is that what it's being taught? Is it just a bad decision, bad tackling? What are all the scenarios that leads to a play like that we saw more often than not on Saturday?
So I broke this play down last night on Bigger to Wrap Up, and listeners can go back and watch it if they want. I think, and DB and I, argued off air, friendly argument, that he thinks, I called it, I called it, he thinks the stunts, which Nebraska ran a stunt there, which I don't understand their rationale for doing it. He thinks that's too easy, that's low-hanging fruit. And I said, well, DB, it starts up front. If you can't, you have do as a defensive lineman, if we do our job right, the safety should never have to worry about making a tackle 10 yards in the backfield.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact how Nebraska is. So in my terms, Nebraska's trying to box things in. They want to keep it inside the tackle box and force it inside. I necessarily don't agree with that. Majority defenses I've played, we've always forced everything inside out. Clog it up, make them bounce, use the sideline to your advantage. But Nebraska's not doing that right now. And we had that discussion, and you can clearly see on that play, they wrap around Keona Davis, and I can't remember who the opposite defensive tackle was, but they do it. I mean, ends come down and the tackles wrap around immediately.
Yeah.
And that put your linebacker and safety in a huge conflict. All right. Now you got hard reach blocks by the boundary tackle and guard. And all of a sudden you have, with the corner out there, you have 3 guys outside, almost in the D gap. And now Shavers is like, well, he's got to get downhill faster. Well, okay. Yeah, but now he's got to try to pick a side. There's a huge gap here. The center is able to climb up on him. Then Buford's just standing there. I just don't understand why you would put your guys in that position. And maybe they guessed wrong on trying to think what Michigan was going to do there. But I don't understand the idea of doing that. Sure. If they keep that 2 technique, Keona Davis there, he butts and presses the guard, and whether he's playing A gap or B gap or he's double, he's trying to play double gap, and Shavers can play off of him. That's a 3 to 4 yard gain. But you just created this big hole, and now you have to force your linebackers and safeties to make a really tough decision and put them in such conflict where they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. And I just don't like that. I think Nebraska's got to do a better job up front of picking and choosing when and how you want to stunt. I think they need to get back to forcing things outside. They've done this numerous times through this year. They did it numerous times last year in this 3-3-5, where they run these guys outside on run plays and they get gashed by it. And I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'd love to sit down and say, why are you doing this? But to me, that's something they got to look at, because that's a quick fix. I've been a part of defenses too, where we've tried to move guys around a lot and stunt, and it gets tough. And you to clean things up, maybe it's just one quick move, or it's just one. You go from A to B, B to C, and that's it. You don't have to try to worry about crisscrossing guys. It's just things get messy. So that's something they got to figure out and attack, because Nebraska has not done a good job of executing them, and teams have taken advantage. Cincinnati took advantage of it. Luckily, Akron and you didn't see it as much against Akron and Houston Christian, but obviously Michigan exposed them heavily on it, and that can't happen, because they're going to play other good offenses and other good teams that can run the football. Michigan State being one of them in a couple weeks, where those whether it's a communication thing, an execution thing, can't happen anymore. And that's case in point right there.
Yeah, great breakdown. And that's the 75-yard touchdown run by Justice Haynes. As always, I appreciate it. Thank you for making us smarter.
Yep, you got it. See you, boys.
That's Jay Moore. Black Shirt, Pride of Elkhorn, co-host on Big Red Wrap-Up.
Really good on Big Red Wrap-Up. I enjoy watching. I get my little 10 to 12 minute clip every Tuesday. It's fun.
A little bit later, John Walker will join us. Brandon Vogle as well. We'll add some numbers to the red zone, because we're not done with the red zone issues. But we'll say this. So you want some positivity?
Sure.
And I have to double check this, but I think this is correct.
Okay.
So Nebraska's been in the red zone 24 times in 4 games.
Wow. Okay.
You know how many times they were in the red zone last year? In 12 games?
In 12 games? I would say 51.
Jimmy, would you like to take a crack at this?
What was the question?
Okay, how many times last year was Nebraska in the red zone?
12 game stretch.
12 games. How many times? I'm going to guess 31.
You're very close.
No way.
Yeah.
What is it?
So last year, Nebraska was in the red zone. This is going to blow you away. Are you ready?
Yeah, no, I don't think I am.
Are you ready for this? Hold on here. I just lost it. It is not very far off of how many times they've been in the red zone this year.
You're good. You're fine.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
When you're a stat guys like us, sometimes you lose stats. If it's in the 30s, it's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
If it's you only made the red zone 3 times a game. What?
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's why I said 51. I was like,
so
4 times a game.
they're 14 of 24. Yeah.
And scoring touchdowns or points?
Touchdowns.
Okay.
Yeah. Now,
See, that's
good bulk of that was in the 3rd game of the season.
Oh, if we were to do the P5 stats of what their touchdowns were, it'd be terrible.
Yes.
It'd be awful.
Yeah. But when you can't run the ball when you want to run the ball,
well, this is the
only
Buffalo
2.78
running
yards
the ball cares
per
a lot.
carry in the red zone. That's wild.
The Buffalo Bills are good at football now because James Cook can
People
finally
forget.
run the ball in the red zone. Like this is if you cannot run the ball inside the 20, you're just not
Shout
going
out
to
James
score
Cook.
points.
Great draft choice by me.
Good
Actually,
draft
that was
choice
not
by
my draft. That was the apprentice's draft choice.
Oh, already with their good takes.
All right, last year, Nebraska's percentage in the red zone, they were at, 75% of the time they would score.
That's not good.
All right.
That's so not good.
More to come on Gary and Matt with Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back in, Gary and Matt with Jimmy on a Wednesday morning where y'all survived the Rapture.
Yes.
So
Blondie tried to warn us.
watching the 7th-inning stretch last night at Wrigley Field,
John Mulaney.
he was in the booth.
Job.
I guess he's going to do a show at Wrigley Field.
Yeah, that's what they were saying on
So
a
TBS.
show or a movie? Did they
A
miss
show.
a show? Okay.
We
Good
should
for
go.
John. We should
So,
go. I would love to go.
He fits into your. Is he an A-lister?
No, this was the convo we had where
Oh boy.
I put him on the A list, but I knew he wasn't an A-lister, but I love John Mulaney. Like John Mulaney's probably my one of my I'd say second favorite comedian.
Who's first?
Dave Chappelle.
I think John
Good choice.
Mulaney could sell out Wrigley Field.
Yes, easily.
Really?
Easily.
I actually was thinking about that last night. I
he's-
think so too.
Without a doubt. He's massive in the Chicago community.
Just
he
because
grew
he's
up in
yeah.
So we're talking. We'd be talking like at least 30,000,
yeah.
35. I don't.
I mean, if Maniscalco can sell out the United Center, I think that Mulaney would be able to sell out.
That'd be what, an additional 20,000.
Yeah. I mean, Maniscalco did a two show sold out United Center deal, and he grew up in Chicago too, in Arlington Heights. I think Mulaney grew up in Arlington Heights as well in that area.
How are the is Seinfeld sold out next month here?
I don't know. Is Sandler sold out?
Not Seinfeld. Sandler. Yes.
Okay.
So Sandler's here on the 21st. Let me look here. No, there are still tickets available. All right. On the heels of what happened yesterday in Stillwater with Mike Gundy.
Yes.
He's 58.
He's a man.
I don't.
Still a man. Yes.
Still a man. I don't.
Needs the mullet.
I don't know what he'll do next. His brother said he's still going to coach, and when he does, he's going to coach with him.
You should come to the zone. Spend some time with us.
Well, you know, we tried to hire Carl Pelini.
Yeah.
Why not try and hire Mike Gundy?
Mhm.
Northwestern.
Yeah, boy, he'd be great at Northwestern.
You know what? Politically, he fits right in.
I'm
Is
making
Northwestern a lib?
yes.
school?
What are you talking about? Does the Pope crap in the woods?
Sometimes I already know the answer, but
Oh,
I
I
want you to
remember
say
that
it out
show.
loud so you're on record.
Yes, they are libs.
I'd be great.
over
I'd be
there.
a great attorney.
So, Northwestern, no
Okay.
to the SEC.
You want
So-
to put it on record? Can you say it for the court, Matt McMaster? Yes, I grew up not too far away.
Okay, so it's a lib.
It's a lib.
It's a lib.
That's what they call me, Matt
It's a lib.
McLib.
What are the percentages of liberal universities that do well compared to conservative universities when it comes to college football?
Oh, probably catastrophic.
I'm here for this conversation.
Probably, yeah. I mean,
Could you look that up today and then get back to
Crack
us
open
tomorrow?
a crust over.
So, but I was thinking, no.
you're trying to get us canceled.
Okay. So my belief is every school gets one run. Like a college
Okay.
football coach, every college from the beginning to the end of time, all they do, some are lucky, they get 2, maybe you get 3.
Sure.
But you only get one long run as a head coach. Like a Gundy
Yeah.
tenure of 21 years.
Okay, I hear what
Yeah.
you're saying. All right.
And during that time, and I'm going to say a long run is like 15 plus.
Mhm.
So you only get one
Wow.
run. Maybe you get 2. Maybe you get lucky and you get 3. But what do you do during that time? How many championships do you rack
Sure.
up? How do they change your program? We also might be getting to a point because, you know, we got cookie cutter coaches and they don't stick around as long,
Mhm.
that we will have fewer and fewer additions to my favorite list of coaches that are most identifiable with one school.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
That is
So
kinda sad.
there are 3 that are right now are coaching. Like Kirk Ferentz is Iowa. He has surpassed Hayden Fry. Kyle Whittingham will always be Utah.
Mhm.
Dabo will always be Clemson.
yeah.
Those are the
Almost
3,
20 years.
Like, yeah. Dabo's been there. Oh, wait. I mean, remember,
Yeah.
Dabo was talking in the middle of the field of a bowl game with Bo Pelini.
Mhm.
That's how long he's been at Clemson. The wide receiver coach that got elevated. But like the Paternos, the Holtzes, the Sabans,
Oh,
the
God,
Bell-
yeah.
yeah. Like Alabama has 2. Alabama has Bear Bryant and Saban. Florida State has Bowden.
Would you add Ryan Day?
To Ohio State?
No, not yet.
No.
Not yet.
That's Woody.
Mhm.
That's Woody.
No. I'm not saying Ryan Day being the number one guy, but I'm saying that
Associated with Ohio
that
State.
that
That's-
Ryan Day.
That's the
you
only school he's coached at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
time, yes.
So
In
there's a-
time.
there's
That's
a-
what I'm referring.
There's
to.
another thing about yesterday, and I mean, Gundy achieved a level of success, but I also think once, they went through a tough stretch, Oklahoma State hung on because maybe he was an alum and they thought, okay, he's going to turn around and he's Mike Gundy. There also makes me, I don't know if the word appreciate, but also respect
only 8 years.
Nick Saban and Tom Osborne.
Getting out when it was the right time.
Not getting out, but
going out on top.
how many legendary coaches or successful coaches can go out on their own terms?
Yeah.
And when their terms are done, it shocks people. Nick Saban, Tom Osborne. They go out on their own. It shocks people.
People forget, not here, that
People
T.O.
are
was
not
60.
people are not shocked that Gundy got fired. Okay. But look at like some of the legendary coaches. Bobby Bowden didn't go out that his way.
No.
Switzer,
No.
Johnny Majors, even Gary Patterson at TCU.
Woody.
who-
You mentioned Woody.
Yeah.
John Cooper at Ohio State, Les Miles, even at LSU,
Even Urban had a weird
Jimbo
exit.
Fisher.
Yeah, Jimbo.
I mean, also Mark Richt. So like Saban
Mac
and
Brown,
Osborne of late.
twice.
Saban and Osborne of Mac Brown at North Carolina, even at Texas. See, this is college football is such a what have you done for me lately, and you have that one tough stretch, you're out the door. But Saban was able to walk away. T.O. was able to walk away, and we were shocked by both of them.
It's not even a one tough stretch. You can be nearly fired and be in the college football playoff if you're Ryan Day. Like there is a universe where what if they lose to Tennessee and
He would have been unemployed for about 45 seconds.
Well, yeah, but
Okay,
like
would he been fired by the media or fired by his boss?
But like we would be talking as if this is a season for Ryan Day that they have to like go out and they have to perform and they have to like win a national champion. Like
still
there
lost
was,
to Michigan.
yeah, but there was, but you know,
They need
I'm
to beat
adding,
Michigan.
but I'm adding to your point here, saying that even like tough stretches don't even necessarily like that's not even all that it takes anymore for your job to even be questioned. Hell, this season, and we're going to start it this week when they go ahead and play Oregon. But a theme of this season is, can James Franklin get it done?
Yeah.
And there are people who don't believe in James Franklin, who think that James Franklin,
And he always pops up every year.
yeah,
for a
and
job.
yeah,
Not
and
if there's much to it, but it pops up.
But what has he done? All he's done is just win and win and win and have Penn State in that conversation of being a national title.
Many
contender.
schools would
Well,
kill for that.
this is also another conversation when you're on the level of Penn State. Can you win games that matter? Okay.
Sure.
And and I don't know if maybe it's because it's Wednesday and this will ramp up. Like the Oregon play for Saturday night is, yeah, Oregon has something to prove. You know, I mean, last time we saw them on a major stage, they got run out of the Rose Bowl by Ohio State. Now they're going into Penn State. The line is kind of okay. It's wide out. It's a night game. Penn State is in a desperation spot Saturday night, in my opinion. James Franklin, 1-15 against AP top 5 teams, 4-20 against top 10 teams.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
But outside of that,
dynamite.
And also, you know, look at his record against Ohio State. He's probably happy that Ohio State, Penn State are not playing every year.
Yeah.
But
even
those defining moments have been few and far between, but he's won a lot of games. But his reputation isn't about all of the wins he's had at Penn State or that he got to the semifinals last year. It's been shaped by the high stakes games. See, there's also the coaches that fit into, if you're trying to make a decision on where your program is going, are you in purgatory?
Well,
they win.
there you go.
They win, but do they win the games that matter that are going to get you over the top?
They win just enough.
Like the Bo principle. Like
there
we're
you go.
talking about Dabo right now.
Yes.
But yet Dabo has a championship.
I think though with and I brought up the Penn State example though because I do think that it still kind of fits into the what have you done for me lately conversation of that is, I mean, especially now with the playoff, would you agree that like we've never been more boom or bust in terms of coaches being successful?
Now, more with the portal.
Like, well, what I mean by that is like I think every job has different expectations, right? Like the expectations for being the head coach at Penn State aren't the expectations for being the head coach at Purdue. Like that goes without saying. Okay.
That'd be wild. Barry
like-
Odom, good luck. Barry Odom, you're already on the wrong USC, Notre Dame, man, brother.
But even with those,
Just
like,
get the over. Please, Purdue. Please.
but even with those expectations, Gary, the fact that you can make the playoff every year and you can win 10 games every year, and you can consistently be a top 25, top 15,
Get in
team,
and have a chance.
and get in and have a chance, and yet that may not be good enough. I think just plays to the point of like the fact that there are so many more opportunities for you to have a shot at the dance has made everybody else so antsy. It's panicked some athletic departments. And I think that Curt Cignetti has panicked athletic departments across the country.
Or is he panicked ADs? Because they're also, all these conversations are all about the athletic director that makes the hire. Like, is it the right fit? Is it the right person? Are you just hiring the hot candidate? You know, and why most of the time the AD that hired that coach that failed is not also held accountable?
Well, that is a conversation.
Now, now, of course, the AD that hired Gundy is not the current AD.
No, but I think that's a whole other conversation in terms of, do we now treat athletic directors the way that we treat general managers in a way? Do they, what has been the differences between the leashes of GMs or maybe even presidents of professional sports teams? And do we just now use that basis as to how we judge athletic directors? Because in a way, athletic directors might as well just be president of operations of professional teams.
Yeah, but they have a whole athletic department, though. I know football drives everything, but there's also the other part of, we kind of judge athletic directors on relationships, how much money they can raise.
Sure.
There are other hires in other sports.
But they are the overseer, is kind of my point. Yeah. They are the end all be all, right? You have the general manager, then you have the president. I think that's interesting as well.
Joey writes in about I had to sift through this real quick.
Okay.
I got scared for a second.
Yeah. So, because this came up yesterday, I think people from outside of the Oklahoma State family, what do you do with somebody that played at your school that is coaching at your school?
What do you
heard of that?
What do they mean by that?
Do they get
extra
grace?
No.
Yeah.
No. God, no. I think it's great that they're here. It's great to hire. I'm not going to deny it. It's great to hire a former player.
You had a former player at your beloved school.
It's easy. It's easier to get
school in Evanston.
Yeah, it's easier to get people to donate.
More liberal than Cal Berkeley.
I don't know.
Many say it's the Berkeley of the Midwest.
To be honest, I've never gone to a game at Northwestern where I've seen people chained to a tree like I did in '98 in Berkeley.
That's true.
And people were. So there was a big tree on your way to the stadium. There were people that were camped out in the tree.
Yeah. Why were they chained to a tree?
They were protesting faculty pay on campus. Yeah. And there was a guy that was literally chained to this tree. And if you are going like into one of the main entrances to the stadium in Berkeley at the time, you had to walk right by them.
Could they see in the stadium like on Tightwad Hill?
But they do have that. They do have that hill where you can. Yeah. But no, this was
okay.
This was like on the way.
Okay, because if you're going to protest and get a view of a football game, I might have to sign up for that.
You've been to Northwestern games before.
Yes,
I
can't wait to go to a new stadium.
They get after it.
Yeah, but I got treated poorly in the neighborhood. People hate people going to the football games there.
Well, where'd you park?
In the neighborhood.
Yeah, you're not supposed.
Well, one time, and then I learned I always took the train.
Yeah,
they're yelling boo sports.
No, they get really mad when unfortunately we no longer have the aunt that owns a house there because we used to just park in her parking lot.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, back to my point though. It is fun having a coach that's a former player, and I think it does spark the fan base and it sparks donors and it gets them excited. And you always like a guy that knows your traditions and where you come from. But once he, in my opinion, puts on the headset, he's no longer a former player. He's your current coach. You have to judge him based on his current coaching acumen.
Do we agree that every school gets one long run of a coach and then that's it?
Yeah.
No, you can have.
If you're lucky.
Like, you're saying long run, like 15 years.
15 years. I mean, are we going to be surprised after Whittingham and Ferentz are gone?
If you see anybody go
Dabo, 10. Yeah, like what's the adage? You should change jobs every 7 years.
Yeah, no,
right. You said something similar.
I thought it's 5.
I thought it was 7. So Danny Nee told me this. I was doing his radio show, and this is actually when Nebraska basketball was doing well. And he goes, "Oh no, you know what? It was our discussion off air when he announced that he was taking the Rutgers job on air that he never got." He said, and I'm not going to do a Danny Nee impersonation. He goes, "Gary, He goes, every 7 years. He goes, every 7 years. Told us every 7 years, got to change jobs. You know why? Because then you can stay too long. You got to get out.
That's what Buzz does. Buzz Williams does the same exact thing.
And that's what Gundy was kind of thinking about. When he started kicking the tires like aggressively in 13, 14, 15, he'd been at Stillwater for almost 10 years. Now he gets an additional 10 years.
I agree. I understand what you're saying about everybody gets one run, but it's so rare in general to have, like, because I would consider Ryan Day, what he's done at Ohio State, 8 years, one national championship, college football playoff appearances. Like, I would consider that a run. I would consider that a really good run. Now, if you're saying 15 years, like that happens, I think that principle is correct, but more so because
it's not Woody Hayes. Woody Hayes had to run.
No. But I mean, do you think that? I think that Ryan Day could probably go another.
I don't know why you'd leave Ohio State.
Yeah, I think that could happen.
I would only leave with Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs left. Which, by the way, quick little note. I don't know why Caleb Downs is getting more run for the Heisman, but he's a defensive guy.
Well, he's not going to get it.
That's why
they don't care.
Unfortunately,
they don't have enough statistics, and we don't have enough people who are.
I also don't think
football.
You keep bringing up Ryan Day. Why don't you bring up Urban Meyer at Ohio State?
Well, you can bring him up too.
Or Tressel.
Urban Meyer was 83-9 at Ohio State.
Like
83-9.
I would argue to you that
he's only there for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
that the combination of like Urban Meyer and Ryan Day is a run in and of itself.
That's fair.
That like stretches that period of time. So
like they'll never be a run like T.O.'s. Okay, at Nebraska. We already had that.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
It was pretty good.
But
I don't think you'll ever see a coach at Nebraska football coach that long. I mean, I think Rule is probably 9-10 years, and it'll be his last job.
Yeah.
But I got a question for you. So let's just say, and I know this is hypotheticals, right? But like Lanning ends up having a run at Oregon.
Yeah.
That we compare to these guys that you're throwing out there. When Lanning leaves, what is standing in the way of Oregon having another run like that?
Somebody uses Oregon to move on to a different job.
Mm-hmm.
But
have they really had a run? Have they had their run?
Oregon?
Yeah.
Saying have they had their run?
No. Have they had it? No.
I mean, Chip Kelly was,
good.
Chip Kelly was only the head coach at Oregon for 4 years.
Yeah. Bellotti had it going for a long time.
He was friggin' 46-7 during that stretch and played for a national championship in his second year. But I'm talking like the Gundy, Osborne, Ferentz, Whittingham, Bill Snyder,
institutions that
are Paterno, like long runs, Bowden, where every school gets that one long run of a coach, and you hope that in that course you get a couple of national championships. I think today the window for a high level college football coach is probably 8 to 10 years.
Look at Pete at USC.
Yeah,
that great run.
Unless you're running Georgia,
Gary. I guess
unless you're running Georgia, Oregon.
Yeah. Well, so that's what I'm saying.
But those are you can count those on one hand.
So that's my point. What the thought I'm trying to procure is that you are correct where there are schools where it is such a lightning in the bottle moment that you have to hire such a special person, and there has to be such a special set of circumstances for it to happen. But I do think there are programs that exist that have so many resources and are in such a good spot where they supersede that. Where if you just make a regular good old hire, that they'll come in and they can go on a long run. But like you said, you can only count them on one hand.
You know that Chip Kelly, after winning 46 in 4 years at Oregon, only won 35 in 6 years at UCLA.
So you could have convinced me one less.
Yeah. I read a story, and I had forgotten that UCLA was still playing football because they fired fired Deshaun Foster, and then they had a bye week. So they're playing this weekend at the Lib School in Evanston.
Be a hell of a matchup. Why do you?
There's a great story out there about the downfall of UCLA football. I guess two of the better high school football prospects are in Pasadena in the last 2 or 3 years. And from their homes, they can see the Rose Bowl, but had no desire to play college football in the Rose Bowl.
That's crazy.
All right. John Walker coming up in about 15 minutes. Brandon Vogle as well on this Hump Day edition of Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. All right, people are saying, how do we get Buffett involved in Nebraska? So I might have a counter argument that it's okay that Warren Buffett is not involved at Nebraska.
Didn't you cover it
Okay.
last week?
What's your counter?
Yeah, okay. So Adam just brought this up. Good point. Warren Buffett is 95. Big time boosters that basically finance your program, like T. Boone Pickens.
Yes.
Bill Laurie at the University of Missouri. David Booth at the University of Kansas. Brian Schottenstein from Ohio State. There's a guy named Bill Hendricks from that does IPTAY at Clemson. That's their big financial arm.
Arkansas.
T. Boone Pickens passes away.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to Oklahoma State football?
They got $100 million.
You guys know how old Phil Knight is?
He's 80.
But no. He passed away.
Yeah.
He gave him a lot of money, but what happened when he passed away?
He stopped giving money.
Well, I'm sure his foundation
other
did,
than
but kind of didn't it coincide with a little bit of a down.
Mhm.
Oklahoma State just started a.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm making a case if you don't want Buffett involved. Phil Knight's 87.
oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so you're saying that that would be crazy if college football
played, Adam.
How crazy would it be if college football really just came down to whether or not your billionaire donor is alive? Like that was a factor. Like what was a bigger deal than Dan Lanning getting fired or anybody getting fired is, oh no, their donor passed away. And now the well is dry.
T. Boone was a huge advocate for Gundy.
These
I'm
are
saying
like
this
tongue in cheek, but if you look at Oklahoma State,
He was a big advocate for Gundy.
It is tongue in cheek, but it's probably true that will now be a thing, that it will be like a holy crap. What is Kansas going to do? David Booth has passed away.
Now you don't need to.
No, he's young.
He's young.
No, I'm not saying
Yeah.
that he's going to or anything. I'm just using that as an
Yeah,
example.
I'll pass away before he does.
Okay, don't say that.
If something happens tomorrow, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm not in trouble.
We'll go
I'm
play
not.
the Powerball.
I got some dirty diapers to
predicting
mail you.
or saying that it was going to happen. I was just throwing out. I could have said Larry Ellison.
I think the McSportsbook is struggling when it comes to people expiring.
You could just put a period after struggling.
No, because you said people would die yesterday because of the Rapture.
Mhm.
Never
didn't.
happened.
We're still here.
I did not.
still
say
here.
that.
Yeah.
I
We're still-
never said people would die
we're
from
still
the
here.
Rapture.
We're here.
Yeah,
It was
we're
gloomy
here.
yesterday,
I
but it
never
was
said it.
relatively cool.
You're putting words in my mouth.
You said that meteor is going to.
A lot of people, I give people an inch and they love to take a mile. You know, same thing with the whole McFarter thing. I literally just I didn't even fart in front of Josh. Now that's all he talks about.
Many people would know
Nathan
about
from
that.
Ohio earlier said maybe I ought to go to a gluten-free.
No, gluten's
I've-
awesome.
I've met kids who yeah, no gluten. Yeah.
I have a
gluten's
friend. I have a friend. She's gluten free. It's a brutal life she's got.
Yeah.
Well,
Can't eat
It's
anything
tough.
good.
Do it for the show.
You got to buy all the different types of flours.
Yeah.
Then you go
Do it.
shopping. You have to buy the gluten free specific things. I don't envy anybody who's gluten free.
Yeah, but maybe you have to do it for the show. For
Why
the
would I do it
smell
for
of
the
the
show?
studio.
Or the station. Yeah. It's
I
true.
do a lot of things for the show.
For Connor, for Josh. Yeah. Maybe.
You make the studio smell a little bit different.
Have I done that today?
Um,
No. Get out of here. Get out of here.
we still have an hour.
True.
I have been purposefully not.
Well, thank you.
I've been clenching.
Thank you for the health of the other two.
Once
that
he took
share a studio
sauerkraut
with you.
out of his diet,
No,
Set.
sauerkraut is out of my diet, and it's so disappointing.
sauerkraut, Old Milwaukee.
Well, just because I'm not eating as many hot dogs anymore. That's the thing. I get kraut on my dog, baby. Sport pepper,
that's
mustard,
That's one of the more terrible food takes.
celery salt, sauerkraut,
Sauerkraut is awful.
tomato.
I
just
actually
did-
didn't know you had that
Give
opinion.
me
of sauerkraut.
give me a Chicago dog, no pickle, kraut. That's the best. Even if you take the kraut off, it's still a banger.
Just to go with the peanut butter and banana sandwich. Screw the sauerkraut.
What are you, Elvis?
It's good.
Wasn't that was
That was
Elvis's
Elvis's,
thing,
yeah.
right?
It's not bad. Not bad. Just try it
Not
once.
Gerback.
Get rid of that sauerkraut. You know that they've outlawed sauerkraut in a lot of places.
No, they haven't.
Yeah, I think you can look it up.
That's not true.
I believe so.
Blue states.
Why
for
would
sure.
why
The smell.
why
and
does
the
the
taste.
blue and the red skates have anything to do with
I don't.
That's
sauerkraut?
the
I don't think
sauerkraut.
sauerkraut is political. I think it's just reasonable.
By the way, if you're talking about political, there's a place called Mustard's Last Stand that's right next to the most liberal university in Illinois called Northwestern.
That is a great
and they're
name, though.
selling kraut.
It's actually a good spot.
It's such a
great
good
name.
spot.
Yeah.
Then Snappy Dog. You ever around that area? Snappy Dog.
Okay. Are they what are they, a red or a blue store?
I think however the hot dog look is.
All right. I got a note about Cracker Barrel a little bit later too. All right, we're headed to John Walker next on 1620 The Zone. All right, the last hour on a Wednesday, we begin with a guy who's it's going to be a busy day for him because Kraton men's basketball begins practice today. John Walker, the Omaha World Herald. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, guys.
Whiskey. How are you?
It's yeah, you were dead on in that one. It's going to be a pretty busy day because yes, Kraton men's basketball practice officially begins today. So the all the off season talk is done for, and now we really just get to see some ball. And it's right around the corner. It'll be here before we know it. Exactly 6 weeks from today, South Dakota comes to town for the opener.
Go Kraton. Beat the Yotes. Okay, there you go. But I want to start here because before you join, what? I'm not a South Dakota fan.
I just haven't heard you say go Kraton before.
I'm not. I'm wearing
J skirt, Gary.
No, I got my bird
It was
club.
it was in what
bird
would
club
you
on
call
today.
like a Kraton and like a UNO diehard? Like what?
Oh, a
blue
Mav J.
Mav?
No, a Mav J.
A Mav J?
I'm
Okay.
a Matt McMavsker.
Yeah, but see, I encompass all three.
Here's what I've never understood. Why don't we just call you Mav McMaster?
That's a good one. I don't think I'm a. I
Because
don't know.
he's banned from Baxter Arena, so that's a little
not
bit
true.
tough. Yeah.
I'm not
Matt
banned for Baxter
McMaverick?
Arena. Matt McMaverick's a good one, but I'm a scurry though. I went to Nebraska.
Yeah.
I am
that's true,
according
that's
to
true, that's
according to the starting point guard of or starting shooting guard of Omaha basketball. I am a good luck charm. Tony
Okay.
Osborne said it.
Yeah. Before we continue you two's love affair, I need to ask
and
you.
John, or?
So before you moved here, you were living in the lovely hamlet of Stillwater. You were playing golf on the
Yeah.
great course there. You were going to Eskimo Joe's. You're going to the Tumbleweed, but you also got
man.
You also got to cover Mike Gundy. Your time covering Oklahoma State, what you know about Gundy and Stillwater and Oak State. How did we get to this point that yesterday he got fired in year 21?
Yeah, no, it's really insane. And I'll talk about kind of my not that I was best friends with Mike Gundy, but I had an interesting relationship with him because of the circumstances. So I'll get there in a second. But it's absolutely nuts. I got down there a month into the 2022 season. There was a lot of buzz, as you can imagine. They weren't far removed from the fourth and goal dive towards the pylon in the Big 12 championship.
Right.
They win that, they're in the playoffs the year or 2 years before. So really, we're like 5 years removed from a program that could have made the college football playoffs, and now the unquestioned heartbeat of Oklahoma State football, fired yesterday. So it's nuts. I told somebody else I was talking to yesterday, like the last game I covered, Ollie Gordon, like the last thing I remember covering an Oklahoma State football game is Ollie Gordon taking a handoff, muddy up the middle, bouncing right. There's a pair of BYU defenders there at the goal line, and he literally just plunges both over and through them. And it was like, oh my gosh, like they're good, and then it was the last season, they returned so many starters from that team that showed so much promise in 2023, and it just never worked for whatever reason. So yeah, I think they had a 45-3 loss against UCF at UCF when I was down there. And at the time it was like, what? Like Oklahoma State doesn't get blown out. And they've been blown out quite a few times since then. And so the loss to Tulsa on Friday was really just kind of the cherry on top. Like if you coach at Oklahoma State, you can't lose to Tulsa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially at home. Like the last time that Oklahoma State lost to Tulsa, Harry Truman was in office. That's how long ago we're talking about. And so it happened on Friday. The really interesting part, I thought, guys, and I'm not alone in this, is that you could have fired him Saturday. You could have fired him Sunday. Instead, Mike Gundy went to his regular Monday morning media availability where he spoke for half an hour. And then 24 hours later, he was fired. Mm-hmm. So that's the interesting part about all of this to me. But it sucks. It's sad to see. I had a really interesting relationship with Mike Gundy because the year I got down there was his youngest son's senior year at Stillwater High School, and I was on the high school beat at the time as well. So like I sat in a press box on a Friday night and just shot the shoot with Mike Gundy. Not Mike Gundy, the football coach, Mike Gundy, the dad. Like Gage Gundy's dad, not Mike Gundy, the head coach at Oklahoma State. So I was just naturally around him in those settings a lot more than most people are, again, because I followed the end of Gage's high school career. But yeah, it's nuts, man. It is genuinely nuts to think about how things were when I left Stillwater 20 months ago compared to where they are now.
What's the difference between Mike Gundy, the head coach, and Mike Gundy, the dad?
Funnily enough, like, not very much, but I don't know. It's a lot more genuine. I think, and not that he puts on a front or anything, but I mean, everyone's well aware that he's not the happy-go-lucky, outgoing media guy, right? He always has a little bit of a wall up in those kind of settings. I'm a man. I'm 40. Yeah. Come after me. So no, it's that wall is kind of let down in settings where it doesn't need to be up. And so that my career is still young. But that was for sure one of the coolest parts is watching getting to somewhat know Mike Gundy, the dad, and not necessarily the football coach.
Hey, let's shift to Kraton because a lot of the names are familiar, and it doesn't seem like college basketball has an off season. There's availability that seems like they practice all the time, but now it's official that they can start practicing. One guy in particular, and there's a lot of people that are big fans. You go watch AL and TJ play the other night in football over in Council Bluffs, and there's kids that are wearing Josh Dix jerseys, and now they're Kraton ones, not Iowa ones. But he was a major pickup. What do they need out of him this year to get to where they need to go, and for him to fill a couple of roles of guys that are no longer there?
Did you read John Walker in the World Herald today?
I did.
So yeah, you kind of know where I'm going, right? Like, yeah. I really, for anyone who doesn't know, and I'll tweet it here in a little bit. I wrote 5 storylines to watch this season as it pertains to Kraton. Some of them are more so in the immediate future. Some of them are season long, but one of them, pertains to exactly this, Gary, our hometown hero, Josh Dix, and backyard hero. I don't know. I know it's not exactly Council Bluffs, but like Josh Dix was easily one of the most sought after players in the transfer portal. Like, Kansas heavily pursued him. Illinois heavily pursued him. Indiana talked to him a little bit. And McCollum outspokenly wanted Josh Dix back. And Josh Dix even mulled a Hawkeye reunion. And in the end, he picks Kraton, a Kraton homecoming for his farewell tour. And, he was increasingly better with each season that passed at Iowa. I can't remember if we've talked about it on here before or not, but he had a pretty gruesome leg injury.
Yeah, in
his
senior
year
of
high school. And so I talked to his high school coach when Josh Dix when he committed to Kraton earlier this summer, and I was like, tell me about him. And we got to talking, and he had mentioned that just last season he saw Josh be the player that he once was before the leg injury. And so that, one, tells you how much that leg injury affected him, and 2, tells you that he's back on track. If the guy who's seen him go pre-leg injury, during the leg injury, post-leg injury, like, that's the guy who would know, right? You would hope. You would think. And so that would tell you that a 42% three-point shooter through his career, an all Big Ten honorable mention, I believe, a season ago. That's a loaded league. So, honorable mention all Big Ten is not honorable mention, all backyard. So Creighton's going to need him to be the player that he has increasingly become, both through his college career and in his long-term recovery from this leg injury. Not that it's affected him, obviously, but when you have something that bad happen, it takes a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So not that I'm concerned about that affecting him this year by any means, but it takes a minute. So it finally seemed like the player Josh Dix is deep down found his footing last season at Iowa. And Kraton's going to need that. Like if the Jays want to reach their ceiling, if they want to be the best version of themselves, like that kind of includes Josh Dix being the best version of himself. It has to. Like that's what Kraton expected when they went and got him out of the portal. Those are the expectations that Josh Dix has of himself. And there are a lot of minutes and roles up for grabs, including a go-to guy. 2 years ago, we get in the clutch, you're going to Trey Alexander. You're going to Baylor Shireman. This past season, you get in the clutch and you need a shot, it's Stephen Ashworth. You need to feed it, it was Ryan Kalkbrenner, right? And so this year, we're entering the season saying, okay, like, who is the guy? And that's exciting in a way. To have that much uncertainty, that much unfamiliarity, but it leaves a lot up for grabs. And Josh Dix can certainly become that go-to guy. And I think, again, if Kraton wants to reach his full potential, he has to be.
Do you think that over the next 2 years, we're going to see maybe a morale boost from the team because it's definitely going to be a do it for Mac deal? Or do you think that's kind of hard to project, at least for this season, because a lot of these guys who Coach Mac is coaching, he's coaching for the first time?
Right. I think it's a little bit of both. It'll probably be hard to tell initially, for sure. But like Ty Davis already mentioned way back in April, maybe, whenever Kraton's Abilities Camp was, Ty Davis had mentioned, like, we want to do this for Coach Mac, and whenever he goes out, we hope that's with the Final Four. So, like, they're not dipping expectations just because this team's new. Like, the players are very well aware of everything that's gone into the program this offseason, what the expectations are that the program has built over the last handful of years, especially. And now it's really kind of time to deliver on all of that. Like, so yeah, I think there will be a sense of that. I think there'll be a great sense of that at some point. But how long? That's kind of the question.
Who's going to be the starting point guard?
My pick is being Nick Graves since the day he committed. It'll undoubtedly be between Nick Graves and Ty Davis, I would think. But there are some options. Like, the point guard doesn't always necessarily mean the initiator in Greg McDermott's offense. Like, you saw Ryan Kalkbrenner initiate a lot of sets last year. So I don't know if it will really matter who plays the one outside of defensive matchups, because let's say, I'm on the record with this. I've written it in a mailbag. Let's say the opening night lineup, in my eyes, is Nick Graves, Josh Dix, Jason Green, Jackson McAndrew,
Freeman.
In a perfect world. Let's assume meniscus don't exist. My five would be Owen Freeman, obviously. Now that might look different because of his meniscus surgery and his recovery, but like, Nick Graves wouldn't necessarily have to initiate offense in that instance, because you'd have Josh Dix on the floor as well. You'd have Jackson McAndrew on the floor as well. So I think the point guard will be Nick Graves. The day he committed, I asked around if that was, just a depth piece, what the intention was, and I was told that the intention was that he was their starting point guard. So that's kind of how I've operated. obviously, Owen Freeman's injury throws a wrench in those plans, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much that'll affect the point guard spot necessarily, but the lineup will be interesting nonetheless when Iowa State comes to town. Only in a couple of weeks, guys. A few weeks.
Yeah.
Over under 4.5 Big East teams make the tournament.
Under, I think it's 4 again.
Okay. You don't think Georgetown breaks through?
And maybe they're the 4th, right? Like,
Yeah.
I just think again there's going to be there's going to be like a significant difference between the top 3 teams in the Big East and the remainder. I don't know. Kevin Willard got some nice talent at Villanova. Can he piece it together that quickly?
Sure.
Kim English is going to have a few good pieces to work with at Providence. Can they return to what they were a few years ago? But yeah, and then Georgetown, obviously, but they lost a lot, guys. I know they brought a lot in too, but they lost Sorber, they lost Peavy, they lost Epps. Like, that was their team last year, Epps, Peavy, Sorber, until the back half, obviously, when Sorber was out. But like, that was their team, really. And so yeah, I think it's 4 again, and it's Creighton, UConn, St. John's, and one of Georgetown, Providence, or Villanova.
Okay. I like that. All right. It's here. Enjoy today. I look forward to your observations.
Thanks, guys.
That's John Walker from the Omaha World Herald. So Omaha, Nebraska started on Monday. Nebraska, people got to put eyeballs on Frager yesterday. See some shooters. And also I wonder is what kind of a player Kendall Blue is going to be and how much of the ball in his hands will happen. And then today, Kraton opens and has you can put eyeballs on them.
What do you think of a Bo Reed comparison with
you know what? I saw that.
Braden because I don't know what that. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know what that means.
Bo was a dude, man.
Yeah.
Bo was a nice. I wouldn't say he was a glue guy. Bo was a good player, but Bo played with an edge and he was physical. I want to see Frager play in a game.
Yeah.
I know the hype is there, and I'm, if it happens, wow, because Fred's success with young kids and keeping them in the program and growing hasn't been there. That's why I wonder, is Rhymes going to get on the floor? Are we just going to say, well, 5 for 5? Well, guys not playing, they don't stick around. So if Frager is near the hype in Lincoln, then first of all, good on him. Because as I said yesterday, who were we talking to? I think BC. I said, I saw him play in high school, and I was like, And then he reclassified, and I'm like, But he definitely, his body looks completely different. So
that'd be if he plays, like, they do need a physical, like, kind of wing player to like fill that. Like, they're missing that. I don't want to call it the Bryce Williams role because he was such a ball handler, but they need the length. They need the physicality. If he can fill that, that'd be a massive development.
Okay. Still to come, Brandon Vogle will step aside when we come back. I got a couple of basketball notes for you because Nebraska basketball made some national news yesterday. Did you catch that?
No.
Oh, national news.
They didn't make national news.
It was on the ticker.
What did I miss?
It was on the ticker yesterday.
No way.
Yeah,
Nebraska ball?
It was. Stay tuned. I'll tell you.
All right.
That's a tease.
Gary and Matt with Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. All right, Friday is National Pancake Day. Cracker Barrel has $5 all-you-can-eat pancakes.
Well, I know exactly where I'm going.
All-you-can-eat pancakes, $5. Cracker Barrel Friday. No comment?
They still fighting about that logo thing?
Nope.
Okay.
We're back to the original logo.
I just care about the food.
Yes. Okay.
I don't like pancakes that much to do $5 all you can eat.
I got a story about pancakes that I'll share on the crossover.
Okay.
John writes in about Nebraska basketball. He goes, I didn't see the ticker news, but was it that Nebraska basketball was the first team eliminated from making the 26 Big Ten tournament? John, I don't know if you know this. Everybody makes the tournament this year.
That's your argument back to him. Your argument back isn't any additions. It's not, hey, they got more spacing. It's not. No.
The burn is factually incorrect.
Actually, everybody makes it this year, so we don't have to worry about that again. Why'd they change that back? That was very under the radar.
Everybody gets a ribbon.
Kind of like dumb.
Everybody
just
gets
stick with it.
Okay. So Nebraska basketball made national news yesterday. It was on the ticker.
Yes.
I don't believe
what
you
happened?
for a second.
Brant Banks has been signed to the 53-man roster for the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, I did see a Brant Banks.
Former
Brant, not Brad.
two-sport athlete at Nebraska. People forget because a pandemic hit us shortly after he suited up for Nebraska basketball that Brant Banks played basketball at Nebraska.
He didn't. Okay, played basketball is a stretch. I mean, he didn't get onto the court.
Four?
He is a former two-sport athlete.
Did he play a game for Nebraska basketball? Did he see in-game action?
Did he wear the uniform?
He wore the uniform. He went through warm-ups.
Yeah. I wear a uniform. Okay, there are a lot of people who are wearing a Nebraska basketball.
By the way,
uniform.
that hoodie today, fire.
You like
Yes.
Yeah.
So he
Shout out
left
Savannah.
and he went to Rice, and it's just another former Nebraska offensive lineman that goes elsewhere and then goes to the pros. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Go open the door again for Grant Seager.
The Nebraska to Rice pipeline. Nebraska to Rice to the NFL pipeline.
Two guys.
Very similar
that's what I'm
academically.
saying.
Yeah.
So Nebraska basketball made
Got our
national
carbs.
news yesterday because Banks got signed to the Packers 53-man roster.
Okay.
That's wild.
Now, the other thing.
I
So-
don't like Brant Banks anymore.
This may tick off some Kraton fans, but a little birdie out there has told me as they get
See
ready
what
to
you did
release
there.
these start times and networks that Kraton could be on Peacock upwards of 10 games
No
this year.
way.
It's great
no
production,
shot.
though.
The Seton Hall, Georgetown, DePaul double dippers
Your CBS Sports Network games.
could be no. Peacockers.
Yeah.
Could be
I
10
hate that.
Peacock games for Kraton.
Because
Besides
that's
the obvious,
too
but-
many. That's too many. 10 games is too many.
Better than Flow Sports.
10 games is what? There's 34 games in a college basketball season. So
That's 24 on
3.4.
television.
That's 30%. That's just
I
under
was-
30% of your
I was
season
told
is on
yesterday
a subscription-based service. That's terrible.
They're possibly upwards of 10 games.
And if it's now,
So 6 would be the Seton Hall, Georgetown, DePaul, which those do feel
Yeah.
like Peacock games.
by the way, I have a quick little complaint here because
Okay.
I was
Because you can't change the channels during streaming?
no.
Okay.
I get why
is
am I
valid.
getting why am I paying for Netflix? Because I'm now paying for my own Netflix.
Congratulations.
Why am I and I'm paying for Peacock too. Okay.
Welcome to the club.
I know. Why the hell I'm paying
My
for these
Hulu just went
subscription
up.
services? Why the hell am I watching ads? This isn't HBO. This isn't Channel 550. This isn't Stars.
See, they're all full
all right.
of, well, you know.
I'm just saying the point of subscription services or streaming services where I pay extra
Mhm.
and then I don't get ads. I
That's why
just
you don't pay
stream the
extra.
movie. That's why it's
It's all
streaming.
BS.
Why am I
There's
now?
always ads.
I'm
Yeah,
watching.
That's a fair. I think they have tiers now where you can pay
I
even
know.
more. not for
Everybody's
the
got a
ads.
tier.
like
Everybody's got
YouTube.
a gold tier and a platinum tier. So I got to pay $50 extra a year now, so I don't have to watch ads.
We're all gonna
which
end up
was
back at
already
cable
free
one day.
before. That's crazy to me.
Well, you also now they've got this thing that is encouraging that you got to keep your cable or do something where you cannot Chromecast like off an iPad. Like-
You can't AirPlay?
No, if like I noticed that the MLB
Damn,
the
I like
MLB
AirPlay.
app off an iPad you can't do it. Off your phone, I don't think you can do it as well.
That's crazy.
You have to have the app.
That's crazy. That's
Um,
insane to me. I was watching Outlaw King, trying to see Robert Bruce become the king of the Scots. And then all of a sudden an ad popped up and they're telling me that I need to, take this pill to lose weight.
Yeah, we all got something.
Take once a day Jardy.
Take a shot. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Little pill with a big story.
So
The other last little basketball nugget. So Omaha men's basketball, Deng Mayor, who transferred from North Dakota, got here in June, tragically passed away. He drowned in Salt Lake City, his hometown. So he was going to be a guy off the bench about 8 to 10 minutes. And so that hit the program very, very hard. And they're doing some really cool things to honor his memory throughout the year. But Omaha has added a player to the roster. He will not be eligible in the first semester because of a class that he dropped. But Omaha has welcomed former Miami Hurricane Paul Jobet, 6'7" sophomore from France. Last year, averaged 5.5 points a game in 28 games. 7 of the 13 games he played in the ACC, he was in double figures.
3-and-D kind of guy. Got good size at 6'7".
Yeah,
6'7", 195.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he after watching him, and it's he's been here since school started. They just have not made it official. I think today they will make it official. But that is an addition that in the Summit League, he's gonna be a problem.
Well, he can 39% from three.
It's pretty good.
He's a good player. It's a good late addition, but he's not eligible for the first semester. He'll be eligible, I think, when they go to Texas, right after the semester ends, and then of course for the entire Summit League season.
What class could they have in Miami that they don't have in Omaha? Did he drop an aquarium class or a marine biology course?
I think there was, if he was going to stay at Miami.
Okay.
Like, he did not become available and on Omaha's radar until about a week before school started.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
his win shares was 0.6 last year.
Well, he
trying to drop another
he fits in. He fits in. And they've introduced him to the team because they needed another player, and they've done a really, really good job. Crutch has done a great job of introducing him into the culture, and he is fit in. I watched the interaction with him the other day. He's a player. So that's a good pickup for Omaha.
He's efficient. Yep. He's just an efficient scorer.
All right, back to football.
Cool, awesome. That was fun.
Let me read a tweet here before we get to Brandon Vogle. This is from Ron. Good interaction on Twitter. I always like hearing from him. So this is a Dylan thing. On the 7 sacks, he avoided 3 sacks, but what never gets brought up is his inability to beat the rush with the ball. When they go empty and bring 6, he has to know and get the ball anywhere, even incomplete, dinging his percentage. That's we discussed that at length on Monday. Is why doesn't he want to throw the ball away? Like, just I want to say, I hope to God it's nothing about, well, I'm going to go from 75.
I don't think it is.
Might but just be a thing. Well, we're not taught to do that, but that's the next step, is just, you got to get the ball out.
So,
okay, can't afford to take a sack here. Boom.
I think there are, and I hate talking about this because it gets taken in such a out of context, right? But like, you've brought this up and Connor's brought this up too. There are positives of Dylan trying to emulate Patrick Mahomes, right? Like if you're going to be weird about, or not weird, but if you're just going to try and imitate a quarterback and learn things about a QB, it'd be Pat. And Dylan does a lot of Pat things that benefit the team. And one of them was that I always refer to it where he threw the corner who was about to sack him, he threw the ball. But I think the double-edged sword of that is, Patrick, to a certain extent, can get have a sack, right? That should have been an incompletion because he's trying to run around and he's trying to make a play off script. And so that's what I probably think it is. I don't think it's a completion percentage thing as much as I think it's just he thinks that he can make a play every single time.
Yeah.
And the ball needs to go for positive yardage every single time. And that has clouded him from being like, oh, all right, third read, nobody there, let me pop it out.
Brandon Vogle from Counter Read will join us. He's had some really good thoughts on Counter Read post Michigan. He'll share them with all of you when we return on 1620 The Zone. All right, let's welcome in our good friend from counterread.com, Brandon Vogle. Good Wednesday morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
All right, middle of the week, post-Michigan, what's the right reaction to everything you've looked at off of 30-27?
Yeah, I think, well, I guess I don't know if this is most people, but you have the immediate kind of reaction to the loss, and then you start looking at things and digging into the numbers and watching the game again. And I'm kind of trending down to the point where I think everything still feels possible for this Nebraska team. Certainly at 3-1, but also just with, how it played. I mean, that Michigan game certainly raised some potentially serious issues. But I also think Nebraska sticking in that with the way that game went, and because of some of those issues, particularly stopping the run and stopping Michigan's pass rush, all things considered, it still showed me something, I think, about where this team is at. And I do still think it's a level that's higher than where Nebraska has been at in the recent past.
I agree.
Is an attainable goal for this team, Brandon, is to get to the point where you can kind of re-rack the deck versus USC. And what I mean by that is we went into this Michigan game saying, all right, this is the step, this is the moment, this is, how you show things are turning around. Should the goal for Nebraska football be, okay, by the time we get to the USC game, we're feeling the same exact way we felt going into the Michigan game?
Yeah, I'm guessing they wouldn't put it that way, but I think we can.
Sure. Yeah. We can.
Yeah, you look at kind of the opportunity ahead, and it's not going to be easy, but it still doesn't look unfavorable for Nebraska. I think Michigan State's a little bit better than what I thought, a little bit further ahead than what I thought they'd be at this point in the season. So credit to them. Maryland certainly looks that way, although Maryland is also notorious from being 4-0 and looking like world beaters in September and then starting Big Ten play. So we'll see where that one goes. You get Northwestern at home, which any way you measure it is,
you never know.
They're always going to play hard, and you make a couple mistakes, and all of a sudden you're in a dogfight there. And then of course that Minnesota one, which I don't know quite what to make of the Gophers. I circled that one all off season as a trouble spot, and I think it probably still will be on the road. But man, did they get hammered by Cal, which was an eye opener. So. I just got done saying I think this Nebraska team's ahead of where previous iterations have been under Matt Rule. If they are, can you go out and run through those 4 games and make it look like business as usual? Because then if you do, you kind of get that second opportunity against USC back on your home field. Now, take the step. Take the step people hope the Michigan game would represent. If Nebraska gets to the point where USC can be that game, they're in a pretty good spot.
I know every game is created differently, but why can't Nebraska win the first conference game of the year? Let's go back to 2019.
That's crazy.
Right. And, it's not like so Michigan came in ranked. Illinois was either ranked or right on they were ranked 24th, I think, in that first game a year ago.
Yeah.
But you go back previous to that, and then 2020 was Ohio State, in bizarro world. But you had the Illinois game, you had the Northwestern game where Nebraska was favorites. There's something about it of, if you take the long view of Nebraska in the Big Ten, other than those first couple of seasons where I think the newness and the quality of those final Bo Pelini rosters kind of showed through and carried them a little bit, but you could still see struggles. They've just had a hard time adjusting to the buttoned up nature of Big Ten football, I think. And I think that shows itself in a big way right out of the gates.
Wow. And so take out Ohio State in 2020, the COVID year. All 5 of them have been 1-score losses.
Yeah.
So piggybacking off of, because you kind of just brought it up, and I was going to say this, Brandon, and piggybacking off of Gary's question, if you look at the history of when Nebraska has joined the Big Ten, there has been a lack of Big Ten experience on just those initial staffs, right? I mean, they didn't hire former coaches from the Big Ten, and those former, the coaches that they did hire didn't necessarily bring in a bunch of hey, Big Ten coaches, we're all gonna. I mean, you had one coach literally say, "I hope the Big Ten adjusts to us." So, a macro view, do you think that part of Nebraska's struggles over the last however many years you want to call it might stem, or not stem, but them not having a lot of previous Big Ten experience, that has played a factor in that?
I think it could be. I think it's a really interesting through line going all the way back to 2011 when they started here. Because if you talk to some of those Bo Pelini assistants now, they'll tell you like the adjustment was real and it was severe. So you go from that to Mike Riley. You have Mark Banker, good defensive coach, in my opinion, making the comment about Iowa's practices must be a bloodbath. That's an indication of like, oh, this Big Ten is different.
Yeah.
And then you had Frost come in and kind of, he was on the top of the coaching pyramid at that point and make the claim of they'll have to adjust to us. Matt Rule is really the first guy, I think, of those coaches that's come in. I mean, he played at Penn State pre-Big Ten-ish or right around when they moved over, who kind of came in, I think, with an understanding of it, but his staff didn't bring that in at large. It wasn't like a point of their hiring. So I do think there's something to it. Like, and right now, if we can accept the premise that I think Rule and coaches understand what it takes, they know what it looks like, they know how hard it is. It's still a different thing to go and do it, and it's been something Nebraska struggled with.
They've struggled with stopping the run. So right now, in yards per rushing allowed per game, Nebraska is in the same category of Colorado State, Middle Tennessee State, North Texas. Nebraska's at 108. They're giving up 173.5 a game through 4. The other startling thing, 5.2. There's 2 Power 4 games in there. There's 2 non-Power 4 games. This is a concern going into the year. It's a concern 4 games in. Is there a solution in the meantime for the next 8 to be able to stop the run?
I mean, you've just got to hope, I think, defensively on the line in particular, that some of those young players continue to improve. And for a handful of those guys, their first Big Ten test or their biggest one yet was a step back. So that's an area where you hope maybe the bye week can help them a little bit. I mean, that group, I kind of expect to improve gradually as the year goes on, just given the youth there and experience. I don't know if I necessarily feel the same about linebackers. They've got a mix of veterans and young players. And, other than tackling better, which, and it's not like I felt like Nebraska, they had the 3 long touchdown runs. So I guess you could say they didn't tackle all that well against Michigan. But this has to be an offense. They're trying to get guys to the ball, which every coach says that, but Nebraska actually plays that way. I think it's got to be, their tackling just is going to have to be top third of the Big Ten, I think, for them to have the type of season that they want, because another, I think big lesson from that Michigan game was like, at the end of the day, you just got to have some dudes, like players that are, playing their best, might be playing a guy who's also playing a pretty good game, and they're still just better. And when you go down the Nebraska roster, like I think you can put Raiola in that category right now, but where else do you go after that, particularly on defense?
The theme of Gary and I's conversations about this Michigan game have been everything that we thought might be negative heading into the year, kind of reared its ugly head in a way against Michigan. Looking back on what you thought the problems might be in the preseason to now 4 games later, has anything turned for the better in your opinion, Brandon? Like, are any of the things that you thought would be bad actually turned into positives at all?
No, nothing decisively. I mean, I think I think Emmett Johnson's been better, and when he's running the football, gives them a dose of a little bit more in the run game than I necessarily would have expected. But that presents its own issue because, as Rule talked about this week, and as we kind of looked at all offseason, who else is there to help with that? And you haven't seen that evidence yet. So that's kind of only a quarter credit at best. Pass defense I thought would be a strength. It's been even stronger, but That's not taking a weakness into a strength. Oh, well, I guess maybe the obvious one right now is probably special teams, which hasn't been perfect,
Sure.
but it gets credit for not being abysmal. I think in terms of some of the power ratings, Nebraska's like between 30 and 40th, which, given that they finished every season almost in the past 5 or 6 in triple digits, is a significant jump. So I think special teams has shown the potential to actually be a strength. So I would count that one, I guess.
Hey, let me, and this hasn't been used, and his name, Rule brought up it briefly on Monday. I don't want this to be excuse, but I think it's reality. Should we probably discuss more the Bonner injury and how it impacted Saturday?
Potentially. I think when you look with what it's meant for Mosey in particular, they moved him back there because they needed another option in the backfield. I think, and we're seeing kind of why so far, because Quentin Ives had his moments against an inferior opponent. Mekhi Nelson's flashed occasionally, but Nebraska hasn't even used one of those guys yet as like, here's our definitive number 2 back. So losing Bonner in terms of his playmaking ability and the versatility he offered, that maybe that first 4th down play inside the 10 goes to him. In that sort of scenario. Although I know Rule talked about that, and Lindenmeyer's more than defensible as well. But yeah, I think there's pieces of that because it's meant they've had to change their plan for a guy that they really, really like, true freshman, and we're seeing a little bit of the, I think, tail of that now as you get into the heart of conference play.
I think the ethos, if you will, of this staff has been player development. Have you written a player development? Because I am subscribed to counterread.com, but I don't know. Have you written a player development article of tracking of how has that gone for Nebraska? And if you haven't, if you were to write a player development article, do you have any maybe hypotheses of what you would find in terms of have as many guys as maybe they hoped improved and gotten better since they've been here?
Yeah, I haven't written anything specifically with it. During the summer, I was kind of playing around with ways to try and measure it, and didn't land on a great one. But this is the inspiration I need to get back to it, because it really is kind of what they're banking on. And mentioned earlier, Michigan just has some dudes, and there's a lot of teams in the Big Ten that do that. And Nebraska's trying to develop some of those guys, and I think they've got good candidates. They're not there yet. So like, your plan of attack has to be like, we're going to execute at such a high level, like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. That's how Nebraska has to do it without those kind of singular guys. So how far along are they in that? I remember looking back specifically at the defensive line, and past Rule teams turned some guys into draft picks that were not draft picks coming in. So maybe that's a way to hack away at that. Although this year kind of feels like the first year where we've totally had like, okay, let's see what the development is.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to kind of track that as we go along.
And some young guys, and maybe they'll get more of a shot moving forward. As always, Brandon, we appreciate it. Great stuff. Great recap on the weekend, and then a start to this bye week. Look forward to more on counterread.com.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, BB.
That is Brandon Vogle. Joins us every Wednesday.
Before we get off the air, just want to remind everybody this week's zone deal is Scary Acres combo passes, 2-for-1 combo passes to Scary Acres. Get into all their great attractions. Go ahead and listen to Unsportsmanlike Conduct to win some tickets, and go to 1620thezone.com for more details.
All right. Enjoy your Wednesday. We'll see what happens out of the state of Oklahoma.
Are we expecting more?
I don't know. I mean, it was a busy day yesterday.
Yeah. How's Oral Roberts looking? Are their coach okay?
Well, we can text them. We have a pretty good source.
There you go.
We can find out. I actually think Oklahoma's going to be fine. I think they're going to be okay. They could go 3-1 in the stretch without Mateer. That's a viable thing.
It's a bummer that he's possibly going to miss the Red River game, because I'd love to see him and Arch go against each other.
I feel bad for the Heisman Trophy bettors too.
Yes, because
it's done. He's not going to win it.
Francisco Mendoza is the favorite.
I flirted with doing
last 3 games, 10 incompletions, 14 touchdowns. He's at Kinnick on Saturday. We'll discuss that. And Julian Sayin making his first road start in Seattle. Also, Oregon, Penn State. Good weekend for the Big Ten.
That you're a Washington Hawk. You really want Ohio State.
You need to
lose
go to
that
a game there. Very nice.
He's excited for the Huskies game.
We'll see. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody. We're back.